Welcome to Kind of Funny's Game of Thrones.
I knew he was.
It's not as good. It was a solid 80% performance, but if we get another take, you didn't capture.
You need to look at the screen first.
It's in the face.
The terror and maybe the something came out. Something came out.
Welcome to Kind of Funny's Game of Thrones, the final season in review, episode 2. I am Tim Gettys. This is Andy Cortez. That is Kevin Coelho. Over there, we got the keeper of plot, the explainer of scenes, Andrea Renee, and rounding out the group, Nick Scarpino. How y'all doing?
Good.
Great.
What a time to be alive. What an episode.
What a time.
Cannot wait to get right into this. This show happens every Monday, twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, 11 a.m. if you want to watch live the day after Game of Thrones premieres, or you can watch it later on youtube.com/kindoffunny or on roosterteeth.com, or as a podcast, just search for Kind of Funny Reviews. It's the same podcast feed as we use for the In Review series, where tomorrow we are rounding out the Mission Impossible franchise.
Oh, man.
And then next week we do
I spoil it already?
I'm halfway through. Okay. Halfway through.
Me too.
Little GG fell asleep.
No,
you know what I mean?
No,
that's what happens.
No.
Shout out to Patreon producer David Mintel. If you want to go to patreon.com/kindoffunny, you can get this show ad-free or write in your thoughts about the show. We'll talk about them later.
Street magic.
Whoa, Mind Freak, David Mintel. Game of Thrones, the final season, episode 2. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. First aired April 21st, 2019. Directed by David Nutter. Once again, same guy that directed last week's episode.
Every time I say that dude's name, makes me want to eat Nutter Butters.
Yeah. Written by Brian Cogman, who has directed or written 10 episodes across all the different seasons. So he's a veteran of this. Runtime of 58 minutes. Andrea.
Yes, Tim.
You want to hit us with that plot?
Let's go.
58.
Sorry.
This is episode 69, wasn't
69.
it?
It was episode 69.
All right.
Giggity. All right, so a lot happened in this episode. A lot of conversations, really bringing characters together in interesting ways, and some teary-eyed moments as they set up for the Battle of Winterfell, which is now clearly going to start
Next week, baby.
in next week's episode. So let's go ahead and get right into it. There are, according to my notes, there were 19 scenes in this week's episode, which is quite a few different scenes.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, when you saw last week's preview, you're like, is it going to start this one? And then about 20 minutes in, I'm like, no, we're good. We're safe. We're safe.
They totally just like, we're going to take this episode to, it's like fan service in the best way, where it's like earned, where we've had 7 seasons now fully preparing the characters for this moment. And then you give them this last thing where every single character and every single moment we saw here might have been their last.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Yes, and at the end of this episode, I would like to do like a quick rundown of characters we think are going to die in the battle, but we'll save that for the end of the episode. So,
and I have seen some concerns from people of like, don't mention what happens next week.
Yeah, so that we'll take that feedback to heart. So we will not discuss the next week on portion at the very end of the episode after the credits.
But isn't that part of the show? Like, I feel like that's fair.
Yeah, some people don't want to watch it because they don't want anything spoiled for the next week. I respect that.
I don't know, man.
I feel like that's an easy thing for us to. We have plenty else to discuss.
Sure, absolutely. I actually don't even remember what happened during
Me neither. That's why I'm like, let's not talk about that.
I think it was super quick, right?
And there's really not much that happens there that would be spoilery anyway. So, okay, let's get into it. First scene is between Jaime and Daenerys. So as we saw at the end of last week's episode, Jaime has arrived at Winterfell. He had the moment with Bran. It was super awkward. And then, of course, that's where we pick up here is that they're in the Great Hall.
But he's like on trial, right? They're like, we're about to kill your ass.
Well, they're trying to decide whether they're going to kill him.
I love the decision to have it start like that, not just be him and Bran talking, which I thought what they were going to do. I love this because it kind of solved 10 conversations at once with him, with everybody.
It's fast paced. Like, they don't have time to have these little conversations.
Yeah, Bran said,
let's move them on to this like big trial thing.
The things we do for love.
Yeah, so he ends the scene with that, and so Dany starts by challenging Tyrion and Jaime, saying, you know, your sister has lied. She didn't send the armies that she promised, and Jaime says she's got 20,000 fresh troops with the Golden Company, which we discussed on last week's episode. And so Dany now very clearly concerned about not having that, not only the fresh men, but then she's like, now I'm still going to have to deal with Cersei after the battle with the Night King is done, if we're even successful, if we even make it out of that alive.
I love how much of a threat and a presence Cersei is without even being in the episode.
I know.
It's so great.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we have this great moment where there's this tension between Tyrion and Jaime and Daenerys and Sansa. Sansa clearly still upset about everything that the Lannisters have done to the Stark family.
And Jon Snow just sitting there like, we don't have time for this shit, guys.
Well, and then Brienne of Tarth stands up and says, I will vouch for Jaime. Tells a story about how he protected her and he lost his arm because of it.
Yeah.
And clearly everybody in that room respects Brienne. And I think that's really the impactful moment for her to say, I'm coming forward in front of all of these leaders who are all vying for the throne to say, you should listen to me and this is why. And so she vouches for him. And
Let me tell you, vouching for people, as we learned, that's right, in Goodfellas, if you vouch for someone and they fuck up, they kill you too. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
I would love to see one of those people try to kill Brienne of Tarth.
No, that's awesome.
Brienne knows like how well respected she is.
Yeah.
So she knows that her opinion holds a lot of weight. You know?
Absolutely.
But it's interesting that she didn't go one step further and bring up the stuff that he told her, like when they were taking that bath that one time, where he was like, "This is why I ended up killing the Mad King."
Because he was crazy.
Yeah, and he was gonna blow up.
Yeah, I just don't think that they really wanted to get it. That's like
not the time or place,
retreading
right?
water. You know,
I wonder if we'll get that conversation at some point, though. I wonder if we'll get that with like later down the road with if Jaime survives the battle.
Yeah.
And like pulls her aside and was like, "This is why I had to do this thing." But I don't know. Maybe we won't.
I don't think so. I don't know if that will ever matter, especially in light of what happens between Daenerys and Jon later in the episode. So Jon, of course, says we need every man we can get. He's right. Why on earth would you put Jaime in a cell when you need him leading people or helping people?
He's a good warrior.
Why are they not blonde though?
Who?
Both Tyrion and Jaime just aren't
Tyrion
blonde
hasn't
anymore.
been blonde since season 1.
But it's weird that it's like a symbolic thing. But I'm like, but that's just
You gotta imagine
life.
well, he like dyed his hair going up.
They don't have those summer highlights going.
Exactly.
It's winter.
If you were down in Southern California, your hair would be a lot more blonde than it is right now. Even more so than it is now. And it's super blonde now.
Your hair is not blonde at all.
very blonde.
I appreciate
You
it.
need to get on this.
But
You need
to
to get
Nick's
on this
point,
bandwagon.
if you were in the sun all day, every day, it would lighten
It would
up.
be blonder.
But it's
Yeah.
not. It's winter. Winter is here.
Winter is here.
Yeah, I feel like Jaime's kind of been leading to this anyway, where it's been getting darker and darker. I don't think it's a symbolic thing. I think it's Scarlett Johansson and Avengers like, fuck that. I don't want that red hair on me. I don't want to dye my hair anymore. We're this far along. People get it. I don't know.
I just think that the blonde hair of the Lannisters is such a plot point and such a character-driven thing that like they hammer home so much. I mean, literally, that is season 1's big reveal is that, oh shit, Joffrey's obviously not a Lannister because he looks how
is a
Jaime looks now.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe that will come to fruition later on, but for right now, I think it's like a pretty small plot point to be concerned about. I did make a note here that there's a key moment between Grey Worm and Jaime where he steps forward and hands him his sword back, and they kind of have like this exchange, this like man-to-man look where Grey Worm's pretty much like,
Don't
if you
fuck
try
me.
anything, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah.
Right? And
Why don't they
We're
just
killers.
give Jaime a fucking blade in his arm? You know,
Right?
Oh my
Just
God.
stick
Fucking
it in
arm.
there.
What are they doing? Like they're smart enough.
Let me tell you though, you give me the option blade arm or golden hand. I gotta go.
But I'm
golden
talking about like
hand.
battle.
Going golden hand?
Dude.
I'm talking like in battle, they're like, well, you're useless. You can't use your right hand. But like, okay, well then fashion something where I have a fucking multiple
even a
blades.
dagger,
in there,
you know?
Dude,
Yeah.
that's what they did in Willow. Remember, he had the cool thing where he held it, and it was just the blade that came out.
Nick's argument for why the golden head is he looks at me and goes, dude.
Could you imagine if I was just like, if I had the cup, but just I had it perfectly for the Trenta, the hand just perfectly to hold it like a fucking action figure?
Yeah, it's gold is real heavy, so it's good bludgeoning to it, you know?
Well, I think for a long time he was trying to conceal his disfigurement, right?
Yeah.
He was the head of the Lannister army. He wanted to keep conveying this image of strength, and the easiest way to do that is to hide it, which is why he had the glove on the hand. Obviously, word got around over the course of time that he's got this fake hand now, and so I think now would be a good
blade
time
hand.
to refashion it for a
Okay,
blade.
Or
Yeah,
just a suitcase full of all sorts of things. Like, oh, I have to comb my hair?
Like Inspector Gadget.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
You know?
Okay, we're
Comb
not
hand.
going down that path.
hand.
So as Andy
That
said,
shrubbery needs to be trimmed?
Bran had this, shut up, Nick. Bran had this amazing line, the things we do for love, which of course is a callback to
So
when
fucking good.
Jaime pushed him out the
But
window.
no, but important to note, didn't call him out, right? It was
Yeah.
like, he just gave him like a, what's up, but I'm not Brandon anymore.
But
You know,
later we
something
get the
else.
conversation on why.
Right. And then the scene moves into Dany confronting Tyrion outside of the hall about Cersei and saying, like, you know,
Slipping.
you know, how did you trust her? And he fires back, you trusted her too. And Tyrion admits that he made a mistake in leading Daenerys down this path. This is now the second big whoopsie that Tyrion has done after what happened in Meereen, with the slavers and him making that agreement and her being like, I can't trust you. You're supposed to be my hand.
I loved the scene so much because it addressed so many of the concerns I had last episode about like where their storyline was going. I like that they're just addressing things and they're like moving on. We're siding people together and just like, this is the path we're going. And Tyrion's had such a great arc over the show, and I was so worried it was going to get ruined. And nah, man, they're knocking it out of the park.
But he also made another big mistake when he sent her, like the Yara's boats to go take the keep, where his family's home is.
The Iron Islands?
No, the Lannisters.
Oh, you're talking about Castle
Rock. That's it, yeah. And like their ships all got destroyed on the way there. So he's been making a lot of big mistakes. Really doesn't seem like he's on top of it.
He just got outplayed that one.
Yeah.
But on all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when he was like, hey, don't go in there with your dragons and kill all these people. She did it, and it made it look really strong and powerful. I'm just thinking he's not giving the best advice.
It's like when you work at Best Buy, Andrea. And
tell us, Andy.
I'll take you back to 2008 Best Buy. The recession is hitting, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people bargaining for stuff. They're bartering. They're like, can I get this computer for like $300 off? And you're like, no, that's the sticker price. Fuck off. Right. And they're like, call your manager. And you're like, fuck. And you call your manager and they're like, okay, yeah, go ahead and do it. And then you feel like, fuck, you just kind of like overstepped me. Now I feel like a bitch, dude. That's what it feels like, man.
Was Tom Welling that guy? Was it Tom Welling?
No.
Remember how you thought it was Tom Welling, but it wasn't?
It was the guy from Supernatural.
Yeah.
I sold a computer too.
That was the TV.
Cool story, bro.
No, it
so
was like
next scene is Gendry in the Smith with Arya. So this is a really interesting scene because obviously Gendry is, you know, the lead blacksmith here. He's making all of the dragon glass weapons.
Sexy, all sweaty.
And yeah, there's
she's
clearly
like staring
some
at him like
sexual
a creep
tension
for a little
between
while.
Arya
She knows what she
and Gendry
wants.
here.
Yeah.
But the crux of the scene is her asking him about fighting the whites and fighting the White Walkers. I'm like, what are they like? And her trying to use her skills from her training, you know, with the many-faced god to kind of get some insight as to how she's going to battle them, because that's really where her strength as a warrior lies. It's not like brute strength. She has to outmaneuver her enemies. So she's trying to get as much information as possible, not really getting anything. And then that amazing moment where Gendry is like, you should be down in the crypt where everyone else is going to be. And then she just shows him up by throwing the three
Right next
dragon
to each
glass
other.
blades and says, I
There's
know
that
death.
guy out of frame. I'm like, if I were him, I'd just fucking move.
I'm like,
so I'm not risking this.
Clearly, you guys are talking about some shit that I'm not privy to. I'm gonna go get a Starbucks.
Yeah, exactly. So we're clearly indicating to Gendry like she can handle herself, and
Yeah,
probably
I
is a
do
better
like
fighter
that
than
line.
he is. Yeah,
The I know death or whatever.
he's got many faces. I look forward to seeing this one.
Yeah,
yeah.
That was dope. That was a good line.
Then we
people are all
transition to
fucked
Bran and Jaime in the Godswood for another awkward scene between these two.
He's so creepy. He's just weird the entire time. Every scene he's had for the last like 3 seasons, it's always been like, oh, he's creepy.
Yeah, it's
He's
true.
like when that one cousin, you know, like shows up at Thanksgiving vacation and he's like become a goth kid.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I gotta deal with this kid.
Yeah, I was like, this kid.
How you doing? Depressed? And it's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Andy, just admit that was you. Just admit that was you at those parties.
Nah, I was too cool. I was pop punk,
Okay.
dude.
I will say shout out to you guys though. I love the little bit you did for KFAF last week.
Oh yeah, that was
No,
really
thank
fun.
you.
That was
Good
all
job.
Andy. That was a
Nice
good one. You guys should watch that episode.
So Jaime here says, I'm sorry for what I did to you. I'm not that person anymore. And Bran, of course, says, I'm also not that person anymore. So they have
Jaime's like,
this weird moment.
So we're good or what? So we're
Yeah.
good. Cool. Let's
Yeah.
move on.
So they,
But they do have that great part where he's like, "Why didn't you tell him?" And he's like,
Then
"What
you
the
would've
fuck
died.
is the point? Yeah, they would have killed you, and
You
and
wouldn't have fought.
we need you, and that's what this is at." And he's like, "So you know." And then he has, I forgot what he talks about, but he says something about like, "What do we do after this?" And he goes, "How do you know there's going to be an after this?" Like basically, we're all gonna fucking die
terrifying.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you know, fuck.
Yeah, come on, Walker or whatever his name
Well,
was.
he can't see into the future, right? He can only see like present stuff that has happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think
don't-
that is currently happening and has happened.
Yeah. Yes.
I believe so. So we move from that scene into a pretty impactful scene with Tyrion walking through Winterfell with Jaime. And so Tyrion and Jaime are discussing Daenerys. And in this, I have a quote here not just discussing Daenerys, but discussing Cersei as well. And the thing, one of the important plot points that we get here is that Jaime kind of knew that Cersei was never going to send the army, and Tyrion confronts him about that, but then he asks, was she lying about the baby too? And this is when Jaime says, no, that part was real.
Whose baby is it? Is it his?
It's supposedly Jaime's. I'm still on the fence. I don't know if she's actually pregnant.
Yeah, me too.
Because like, how does Jaime know? He doesn't know. There were no pea sticks back then.
I think it's one of those things where like, if she says it, he believes her.
Yeah.
And I just had a thought right now.
She has had 3 of his kids, right? Or
if she has one of his kids, what, like, they're obviously her kids, but there's also technically her brother. And if she gets killed by that kid, like in the birthing bed, then she would have been killed by her brother.
Interesting.
interesting.
I don't think we're getting 9 months ahead of this thing.
I don't know. So
Yeah.
we'll get to this later.
Yeah.
But like, I have some interesting things that like I wouldn't be shocked if episode 4 starts and it's a big time jump. Yeah.
The end of this conversation has one of my favorite exchanges where he's like, you knew Cersei, like Tyrion kind of calls out,
she never fooled you.
yeah, like you fucking knew.
Yeah, she was a piece
Come
of
on.
shit the
Well,
whole
no,
time.
but no, first Jaime goes, what I appreciated about you was that our sister never fooled you. And Tyrion gives it right back. He goes, she never fooled you either. You fucking knew exactly who she was.
Yeah, he says, you
And he's
always
like,
knew
"God damn it,"
exactly that she was,
and then
you
you see
loved
it in his
her
eyes, he's
anyway.
like,
Well.
yeah, because it's hot. It's
hot.
Yeah. The ones that are
Fucking-
crazy are always hot.
What?
Not when
no,
you're so-
why?
No.
Hey, don't knock it, Andrew.
Crazy are always
Come
hot.
on, man.
Okay. Well, we'll just have to agree to disagree there.
I mean,
so
well, you know.
this is a good exchange between these two brothers. I think they're kind of coming to an agreement about what's going to happen with, Cersei afterwards, and how they both are maybe putting their allegiance to her aside because she clearly is trying to murder both of them. As we
But this
discovered
is
in
not
last
the
week's
scene where they
episode.
have that great part where they're like, where he's like, I wish father was here.
No,
And he's
that's
like,
later.
Why?
Yeah, that's later.
Yeah.
So then the scene transitions into Jaime and Brienne because clearly Brienne just vouched for him in front of all those people. And so they have this moment back and forth where he's like, where they're kind of like in the preparation area where people are training and they're watching Podrick spar with somebody.
Yeah, it's
and
really
They're
cool.
doing well.
He's
Yeah.
like, oh, he's come a long way. And
Coaching.
She, of course, being
Not
like,
long
he's still got a
enough.
long
Yeah.
way to go or whatever.
Great.
And then they have this moment where he's like, well, where are you going to be during the fight? And she's like, well, I'm manning the left side of the battlements.
left
and
flank, yeah.
She's like, I think we have good position here. And it's
Good ground.
And that's when he
it is
says,
good ground.
I'd be honored to serve under your command, which
Hell
is
yeah.
huge.
Let's fucking go.
So-
boys.
Yeah, you get that exchange where she's like, why aren't you making fun of me? Why aren't you belittling me or whatever? And he's like, why? Do you want me to? She's like, no. And he's like, good. And then he kind of like pours his heart out of like,
Yeah, he
look,
gets-
I respect the fuck out of you. I just let me kind of.
But he also
be underneath
recognizes
you.
where he's at, right? Because he's like, I'm not the fighter I used to be.
Unless I get a blade hand.
Unless I get... or... Shrubbery hand.
Or the shears. Yeah. Gendry, get on it.
Right. Cut man.
Dragon glass blades.
I did make a note here that they leave it ambiguous. So she never fully accepts him in that moment. She never says, yes, you can come and fight with me. They just leave it open-ended, which I thought was pretty interesting. All right, so the next scene is Jorah and Daenerys. And
God, there's so many amazing
many
scenes.
moments.
yeah. And
Andrea, is this not like the mission or the night before the suicide mission in Mass Effect 2?
yes.
Where you're just getting all the great character moments? This is what it reminded me of.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
That's a
saw an
great
amazing
analogy.
tweet that was like, this is it. This is your final point. Make sure you do all the side quests and save your game.
Yeah.
There's no going back from here.
So true.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so this is where Jorah and Daenerys, where she's talking about Tyrion and how she regrets not being able to name Jorah as her hand, but that she didn't know if Jorah was even going to come back, if he was going to be alive, and so she really had no choice to name Tyrion as her hand. And this is where Jorah's like, you know what, this guy wouldn't shut up, and I really hated him for a long time, but you made the right call.
And he has
like this.
He has a great line of like, God, it was so hard to not just toss him off the the visual's so funny.
But yeah, I was not expecting this.
Yeah,
I
me neither.
did expect some more tension to be added to like, oh God, here we're gonna have more characters kind of fighting against each
Yeah.
other going into this big battle. But it was a good moment, and it's like she already trusts Jorah, and she just sort of had that trust kind of I don't know, regained through Tyrion through this. I really enjoy this scene.
Yeah. I thought it fascinating how there were several references throughout this episode to Tyrion's intellect and how he's smarter than everybody and how he needs to be preserved because he's smart. And I wonder how that's going to figure into the next 2 episodes over the Battle of Winterfell and what his role is, knowing that he was crucial in the Battle of the Blackwater and that he almost single-handedly saved King's Landing from destruction, and what his role is going to be among Daenerys's like generals in the war.
I hope it's a swerve and he goes out there, 2 blade hands, fucking people up.
If this episode were called by what happened the most, it would be Tyrion smart and the crypt is super safe.
Yeah.
Jesus, they shove that shit. They shove that shit down your throat.
I love that scene though. I don't. Did we skip over that scene?
No,
with the
no,
little
we're
girl?
not there yet.
That was a great scene.
So, sorry, go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that, like, while Tyrion did a great job with Blackwater, they would have lost Blackwater if it wasn't for the Lannisters coming in at the last second.
You mean Tywin bringing in
Yes.
the High Garden army
High Garden
with the
army,
Tyrells.
yeah.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
wouldn't have been able to hold it for sure,
Right.
but like they would have been overrun immediately if Tyrion hadn't used the
put everyone
wildfire
together
to
smart,
decimate
yeah.
the fleet, right? All right, so this scene transitions with Daenerys walking into the private quarters with Sansa. She's there talking to the guy from the Vale, whose name I always forget. One of
Wait,
the
who is that guy?
he's one of the
John Aaron's like second in
uncle?
command.
Gotcha.
or
Okay, because
something?
he was the guy
Robin
last
Aaron's
week that I was trying to
uncle.
figure out because I thought he was the Umber dude.
No.
No.
Nimbus.
He leads the Knights of the Vale.
Gotcha. Yes.
He was the guy who came in with the army during the Battle of the
Battle of
Bastards and
Bastards.
helped
Which
save
I
the
love
day.
that they called it the Battle of the Bastards
Yeah.
by name.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
rad.
So this is, I starred this because it's my favorite scene of the episode between Daenerys and Sansa, where they're having this like woman in power moment where they're
We're friends.
both posturing to kind of see who's really in charge here, but
And
also
both just
having a
putting that
moment of
dick out
connection.
trying to see who can get it farther across the table, man. I loved this entire
great
scene.
scene.
And my favorite line of the whole thing was like, oh, I had love before. How was he? Much taller.
Yeah, I love that line.
I hated that one. I was like, dude, he's not even that short.
No, but before that, I like what the scene is, right? Where Sansa's like, listen, straight up. John left, and he was the king of the North. And when he came back married and bent a knee to you. So I'm worried that you're going to manipulate him. And she goes,
Men are easily manipulated. She
men are
says.
easily manipulated by women. And then Daenerys turns it around and goes, I should be taking King's Landing right now. Instead, I'm in the North fighting his war. Who manipulated whom in this?
Really good thing.
You know, and it's actually kind of, it is interesting because you have to ask that question. Like, he convinced her to come do this thing.
So great.
And it's his war, and he's kind of leading the effort, right?
Yeah.
So, like, it's that tension being built between the two, and then of course that comes in a culmination at the end of this, which maybe he should have saved that for after the war, like telling her, because he might not
But
live.
he's so noble. He can't ever like,
but guess
let a
what?
moment slip.
It worked out real well for Ned.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Well, we're not
strategic.
quite there yet. I think
Yeah.
the key moment in this scene is where it ends, where Sansa says,
What
"We
happens
said
after?"
we would never bow to anybody again. What happens to the North if we win? If we rule this?" And
she pulls her
Daenerys
hand away.
saying, "I'm taking the Iron Throne," and Sansa saying, "But what about the North?"
Yeah.
And then she pulls her hand away and leaves it like unspoken as to what happens to the North.
Yeah.
So clearly, more.
We all know
conflict coming
we
there.
all know her intentions. The North's going to bend the knee. Like, she's going to take the throne, and the North's just going to fall in line.
She
That's what
called
has to
John
happen.
the Warden of the North in
Yeah.
the opening scene with Jaime in front of the console. So I think that's
Yeah.
important to know.
That's already happened. Like
Right.
at this point, the North now fights for Daenerys.
But I do think the
Yeah.
following scene does show maybe Dany's thinking other things, because she does see Theon come back and he says, "I'm here to defend Winterfell. I want to fight for Winterfell again." Theon and Sansa have that big embrace, and they kind of zoom in on Dany, and she's sitting there like, fuck, maybe I should rethink what I'm trying to do here, because clearly this is like bigger than me at this moment. You know?
Absolutely.
She should just be like, I'm gonna marry what's his face? Like, they have a happy relationship, and just like, all right,
We'll be
she's
king
the
and queen.
warden, yeah, king and queen, and Sansa's gonna be the warden of the North. Great, done. Solution. Why are we making this such a big issue?
I don't understand
You know?
either. I'm like, he comes, we're both king and queen. That's it.
Yeah.
We co-rule, and then yeah.
No. I mean, he's already expressed multiple times that he doesn't want to rule. Like, he's down to just be, a kept king.
Hot.
Let's do it.
yeah, he's like the first gentleman of Westeros.
Also, Nick, a moment ago, you kind of said that they were married. They're, just to be clear, they're not married. You know that, right?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Okay.
I knew they're together, but I didn't know if it was like a ceremony
they're
or
just
whatever.
fucking
They're
around.
banging. Yeah.
They're banging it
That's
out.
it. At least for now.
While the dragons watch.
I wanted to just for a second kind of dissect this moment that Andy brought up between Sansa and Theon and how Theon comes back. So Daenerys sees him alive, knows that he's been successful in rescuing Yara, that Yara is now back at the Iron Islands trying to retake them in the name of Daenerys as Queen of the Seven Kingdoms, which I think is important to remember that they pledged their allegiance to her. And I was just a little puzzled by why there was such an emotional moment, because Sansa and Theon, while he clearly rescued her and saved her from Ramsay, like there was still tension between them when all of that ended. So I was just a little confused why they were like suddenly like besties.
Well, I think it's Game of Thrones plot device of we're in the final season, we got to speed this up, because it really to me showed, oh, you came back? You know what? You're our good
But not
guy.
only did he come back, but he said, "I want to fight for Winterfell."
Yeah.
Like, I pledged
Yeah.
I took this castle. I want to fight for it now.
I do
I
think
want to
the-
make up that ground.
I think the last time that she saw him, like not only was she was saved by him, and she thought that maybe Reek is gone, right? And then he still kept showing things about himself that he is not Theon anymore, you know. And so I think she was just worried that he is lost forever. And I think seeing this sort of solidifies that Theon is back. That he's actually back. He's no longer bitch boy Reek. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that this is the ultimate redemption for him, whereas last time he was sent to go see his family, he came back and betrayed everyone. Now he's choosing to leave his family, come back and be like, I'm here to fight. That being said, I feel like it's bullshit. Like, dude, last time you were here, everyone that was in this castle died because of you. Well, and the Boltons. But like, it's just because no one is left alive to be like, hey, dude, he's a bitch.
Yeah, like, no,
Fuck
real talk,
him.
fuck this guy.
Yeah. And Brandon's been real cool about it because he's the only one that really has the context of everything. Yeah.
No, he's definitely going to die in the Battle of Winterfell.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in just a second. So the next scene is a really fun one. This is between Sir Davos and Gilly. They are with a bunch of the townspeople that have been rounded up and have been gathering at Winterfell. They're trying to prepare these people for this giant battle that's coming. People being scared. You know, they have this kind of assembly line where Davos is feeding people and telling them to go to the armory and get their weapons, and them being like, but I'm not a fighter. I don't want to fight. And he's like,
tough
doesn't
shit.
matter, dude.
Yeah.
The fight's coming here.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to fight. And this adorable little girl comes up to get her bowl of food, and she's got this burn scar on her face that is very reminiscent of
Shireen. Right?
Shireen.
They
yeah.
played her theme song too.
Did they?
Which I really love. Like just notes of it behind. I'm like, fuck, this is great.
You're so good at that.
Yeah.
So of course it
That's
tugs on
weird, man.
Davos's heartstrings knowing that Shireen is dead, and she says, "I want to fight." And Gilly very expertly, convinces her that the best place for her to go is to defend Gilly and her baby little Sam in the crypt. And
Shout out to Lil Sam.
Tell you what's
gotten
going
so much
if that
bigger.
kid ends up stabbing a White Walker. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they come in the crib, she's like, I got this, guys.
Yeah. What is she?
So she says, "I'll defend the crypt," and it was a really sweet moment.
It was great.
Got her, okay.
My favorite tweet of the night was from T-Pain, who said,
What the fuck?
who said, like, the fact that nobody's dipping that bread in that soup is bothering the shit out of me.
Sometimes I even take a piece of bread.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell, dude? You got to carbo load before the fight.
Yeah, you really do. You got to carve
Oh my
out.
gosh. So good. So
hilarious.
That scene then transitions into the scene with the reuniting of Jon with his brothers of the Night's Watch. So now we've got Beric, Jon, and Tormund that are all back together. Clearly, we've now discovered that they've made it back from the last hearth. They've told him what happened with the Umbers and how they're all fighting for the Night King now, as
Great.
Beric says it.
Nothing brings a smile to my face like seeing Tormund. Like him just walking
It's
up
so
and saying,
amazing.
my little crow. Like, I just love his
I love him
presence, man.
interrupting
Yeah.
that kind of moment of the
Nice, poignant,
watch.
serious moment, and just being like, "Oh," it like
Tackles him.
interrupts the tackle
I
hug. him.
love
Yeah.
him so much.
That guy's great.
Yeah, exactly. And then,
gonna
of
be
course,
sad when
the
he
question,
dies.
the big woman's still here. With that grin and the close-up. I saw
love
so
it.
many gifs of that going across Twitter last night.
I love it.
And it kind of pivots into this little mini montage of people preparing for war, still training, with Jon doing this VO line of, "Our enemy doesn't tire, it doesn't stop, it doesn't feel," trying to really impress upon people this isn't like a regular fight. This is a battle that nobody here is prepared for, and we have to do like everything humanly possible to survive.
I really like this, like the couple of episodes we've gotten preparing for this battle, because like we've seen some really big battles before, but I feel like this is the first time we really see them like making the weapons and the way that they're handling it all. It feels like they're preparing in a way that we haven't seen. Like we've seen a lot of strategy, we've seen a lot of like the big chess table looking world maps on the thing, but like this is the first time it's like we're in this shit. And it's really cool.
It's also interesting to see like the weapons slightly different with all the dragon glass just stuck on the pikes that are normally, you know, don't have that on there. Yeah.
Well, also,
I just want them to
going back to that one scene, like where whoever the blacksmith kid is, Gendry, where she's like, this doesn't look very strong, and he's like, it's strong enough, and he throws it into the wood and like slams right into it. You're like, oh, okay, dragon's glass is actually pretty durable.
At that point, is that when she got the spear, or was that later?
It's later.
Later.
Okay.
Is this the
she
scene?
got the spear twice. You know what I mean?
We need to talk about that scene a little bit. But is this the scene where they're sitting around the table and they're trying to figure out the strategy?
No, this is the scene that right now that we're going into, the council scene.
I just
Okay,
really
this is
want
an
them.
awesome scene.
Before we get into this, I just really want them to create a weapon that's just like a big log with dragon glass that they just roll and it's just like, like I
That's
just
not
want
a bad idea.
like a mass thing.
Maybe
that's
put it
sort
on
of,
an elephant, have the
I
elephant
love
go.
seeing the dragon glass though on the little like
The pipes.
castle pillars or whatever
Oh,
they're called.
yeah.
Really cool.
They like dug it in like a stegosaurus. I also want to shout out to whoever.
It really was like a stegosaurus.
I was thinking about the little spikes you put to get the burbs to stop from sitting on the edges.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Stegosaurus.
That's
is a little bit
stegosaurus.
more-
Same thing.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to whoever Winterfell's Andy is that drew the map and like made it all pretty and nice. Because
That dude nailed
there's
it.
got to be someone out there. They're like,
You're right.
we need a
I
map.
can draw.
Is Andy here? Is Andy editing something? Right? Can you get Andy to edit the map?
There was
Win the
definitely
map.
someone who had the little blocks and was like, I'm going to do a dragon. It's like, you know, for Daenerys.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
This was a great scene, but before we get to it, let me tell you that this episode is brought to you by Robinhood. Robinhood is an investing app that lets you buy and sell stocks, options, and cryptos all commission free. While other brokerages charge up to $10 for every trade, Robinhood doesn't charge any commission fees, so you can trade stocks and keep all of your profits. Plus, there is no account minimum deposit needed to get started, so you can start investing at any level. The simple, intuitive design of Robinhood makes investing easy for newcomers and experts alike. View easy to understand charts and market data and place a trade in just 4 taps on your smartphone. You can also view stock collections such as 100 most popular. With Robinhood, you can learn how to invest in the market as you build your portfolio, discover new stocks, track your favorite companies, and get custom notifications for price movements so you never miss the right moment to invest. Robinhood is giving listeners of all the Kind of Funny morning shows a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help you build your portfolio. Sign up at morningshow.robinhood.com. That's morningshow.robinhood.com. And also, shout out to HelloFresh. HelloFresh is a meal kit delivery service that shops, plans, and delivers step-by-step recipes and pre-measured ingredients so you can just cook, eat, and enjoy. Talking home-cooked meals made simple. HelloFresh makes conquering the kitchen a reality with deliciously simple recipes. They do all the meal planning, shopping, and prepping so you can focus on a healthier you and a happier family. Gia has done both of those things. She's trying to make me healthier. Feel like it's kind of working. Am I happier? Definitely. There's a whole bunch of things she's been making, including a roasted pork tenderloin that was fantastic. Had that a couple nights ago. Let's see. You can go to HelloFresh.com and... Okay. This is not good. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to need to...
let me just say I'm very interested in this.
Well, here's what
I get Kevin the look of like,
Yeah, I
whoa,
know, I
I
saw
didn't know
it.
we were...
And I was like,
appreciate
damn,
it. Tim was like,
gonna
am
make
I
you dinner?
happier? And I'm like, this could have gone either way.
Yeah, we're just
Because
trying to make a family. We don't know.
It's Tim. He puts a lot of pressure on it, but Tim, he rises to the occasion. I don't know either way.
What
this
I'm
is
worried
awesome.
about,
I'm really happy
I'm
you're
very
doing
interested
this.
in this product, but I'm also worried that if somebody, like, I'm not very good at cooking, can I do this?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, dude.
That's
They
the thing
make
is,
it-
even I was looking at the directions and instructions. I'm like, oh, I could do this. They make this very simple for you. They put it in little bags. They send you the bags all separate. It's everything that you need. And it's just, you're ready to cook. The reason that I panicked and freaked out is I didn't have the URL for some reason. It was just like HelloFresh.com/blank. And I'm like, so
What is
for
the URL?
$80 off your first month of HelloFresh, go to HelloFresh.com/morning80 and enter morning80. So that's
Morning 80.
HelloFresh.com/MORNING80. Wow.
Morning
Will
Bow.
also be in the description.
It will be in the description. Go check that out. I'm going to clean this up. I apologize for all of that. But HelloFresh.com/morning.
Baird can vouch that I've used maybe one dish in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
HelloFresh might be for you, man. This is the way to do it. You can try it out.
Hey.
Go to HelloFresh.com/morning80, Andy.
Good.
Andrea, back to the plot.
All right. So continuing, we are now at a pivotal council scene where the artwork that Nick was mentioning, they're all gathered around this table talking about the strategy and how they're going to approach this fight. This is like really a who's who of what's happening in Winterfell all around this table, right? There's a ton of people. So
A bunch of celebrities are here.
exactly. Bran is leading the discussion because he's the only one that really has any insight into the Night King and what the Night King's plan is. So they, of course, immediately say, Bran's going to be in the crypt. And he says, no, that's a terrible place for me to be. He's going to come for me. Shows them the mark on his arm that the Night King placed there and says he always knows where I'm at. I should be out in the open so we can draw him out.
So scary.
Because John comes in and says, listen, I
dude.
fought the White Walkers. They're just going to keep coming, and the more people we kill, the more they'll just be raised from the dead again. He's like, we need to go for the head of the snake, right? He thinks that the only way that they're going to be able to defeat the army of the dead is by taking out the Night King. So I think this is a pretty good strategy, and like it's really the only strategy that they've got.
It's just like a vampire. You know, you take
Right.
out a lead vampire, all the other vampires that stop being vampires. It's great.
100%. Yeah, that's
Great.
it.
So Theon volunteers the Ironborn to stay with Bran. He says, I took this castle from you. You know, now I want to help give it back, and I will protect you with my life. So this is why I absolutely think Theon's going to die in the battle.
Definitely.
But,
100% he's gonna do it.
But that's a
but-
great get hype moment, though. Because
Yeah.
it's like, because real talk, as a watcher of this, just as the audience, fuck Theon. He's an asshole.
Yep.
Having him do this, I'm like, all right, you know what?
Redemption,
I
man.
do like you.
I don't know about redemption, but like it makes things a little bit more right.
Yeah. So they're talking about whose role is going to be where, and then this is when Daenerys tells Tyrion that she needs him in the crypt because she needs his intellect, again talking about how smart he is and how she can't risk him. She's like, listen, you're not the strongest guy here. We don't need to like beat you over the head with that idea. You know this, but you're clearly the smartest person here. So we need you to be alive. And so she commands him to go into the crypt with everybody else to be safe.
That's got to be reassuring for Tyrion.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because
absolutely. Yeah.
you could tell he has that moment where they're both walking and he's like, I forgot what he tells the Varys and
He's like, you guys are gonna be wearing this soon.
yeah, he's
yeah.
pretty soon one of y'all will be having this. So like,
because I'm getting fired.
he's got to be worried, right, that he's on a chopping block. But this sort of like is some reassurance that they're like, oh shit, she does need me.
Care.
She does realize. Good.
Also, the last two battles that he was in, he was front line on both of them.
Right.
One was the Blackwater, and then the other one was the one with
The battle at Highgarden where they brought the dragon in and stole the money or whatever.
No, I'm sorry. I meant like because he wasn't battling in that one. It was earlier when the Lannisters.
Where Tywin was
Didn't
still
he get,
there.
Yeah, where-
Didn't he get knocked out on that one?
Yeah, he got knocked out immediately, but he was still front lines.
Because
Like
his dad wanted to kill him.
Yeah,
right? Didn't his dad
exactly.
go like,
Tywin
you gotta
was-
go
That
Fight.
fight?
was on at the Twins or in the Riverlands?
I think it was in the Riverlands. I don't know exactly. I
been
can't
a long
recall.
time.
That's
where
when he
it
was
Too
leading
many
the
battles.
Mountain Men, right?
Yes, the Mountain Men. Yeah.
And he was at the Vanguard, and Tywin's like, I'm going to put you at the Vanguard.
Yeah, and he's like, "Are you gonna just? Why don't you just kill me here?"
Yeah.
So it is interesting that like now, like someone is not putting him in a position where he's gonna die, and
Right.
and it's cool. Is he gonna die now?
Don't know. We also don't know. We haven't seen the dragons in this episode. No surprise there. They're
We saw
expensive.
the wolf. Yeah.
We did see Ghost, though.
I have that coming up in a few scenes from now. But what was interesting is that they're talking about how the dragons are going to be a boon to their efforts. Clearly, they're like, well, we have these two dragons. They don't know yet that what this undead dragon's what kind of a challenge it's going to present. We know that it exists, right? Bran said that in
Yeah.
the opening sequence of the last episode. But we have two, they still have one, and hopefully the dragonfire will kill him. And that's when they ask Bran, like, it'll kill him, right? And he's like, no one's ever tried.
Yeah, we don't know. That's why he's still around.
Yeah.
So people clear out of that council room, seemingly having their plan together, and this is when Bran and Tyrion have a moment where they're both like, you've had a weird trip. Yeah, you have too. You want to talk about it? And
my
he like
God.
pulls up a chair.
They handled this so well with not showing what they talked about, because that leaves so many potential openings of like, what does Tyrion know now that like no one else knows that he could reveal later? So cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's like,
Is
we
there
don't
any
have time.
big
He's like,
things
yeah.
that he could be revealing later.
I mean, the entire timeline that we've ever seen, like when you think about has Bran learned and told people, literally the identity of Jon Snow.
right,
and, like,
right.
going
That
back
to
through
me
all
is the
that.
most key piece of
Yeah.
information that Bran could tell Tyrion, because he's the one who's going to be probably the most affected by that if Daenerys has some kind of conflict about what to do about taking the Iron Throne from Jon, right? As her hand, he absolutely needs to know that piece of information. So the next scene is such a sweet one and so sad at the same time. So this is Missandei and Grey Worm having like a moment together.
Passionate moment.
And looking, there was at the very beginning of the scene, there's these two children from Winterfell, and Missandei's trying to help them, and they get scared of her and they run away, and she looks at Grey Worm and they kind of have this moment of like, we're outsiders here, we don't belong here, people don't want us here. Where are we gonna go afterwards? Do you want to spend the rest of your days in this place? In my mind, I'm thinking, you wouldn't be there, you'd be in King's Landing. But
Yeah.
then they have this
Big
moment of
difference,
her
bro.
saying, I want to go back to Narth, to the island that I'm from, and see the beaches again, and him saying, I'll take you there. And that's when I was like, they're both dying in this battle.
Oh, they're
aren't they?
dead. They're dead as fucking doornails. But he has that great line where she's like, we're not a warring people. We can't defend ourselves. And he's like, we're a warring people. We'll defend you.
Hell yeah.
Like, I'll take all my boys down. We'll go.
Yeah.
In the
We'll-
books,
we'll
those
ride or die
islands
with
have
you.
like poisonous butterflies, right? That if you go there, they would kill you if you weren't like born there.
Cool.
Because you don't
So
have like
people are
the
immune.
toxicity or whatever
Yeah.
in your bloodstream.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember actually.
So, like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. That's gonna be some sad shit next.
Yeah, they're dead.
Yeah.
Next episode. I don't know about both of them, but definitely
Grey
Grey
Worm's
Worm's
dead as a fucking
Well,
doornail.
I think Missandei doesn't stand a chance either.
Well, I don't think
Right?
she's gonna be out.
You think she'll be in the
imagine
crypt?
she'd be in the crypt.
You got to imagine at some point they're getting into that crypt, though.
That crypt's fucked.
That crypt is fucked. That's a kill box right there.
Like that.
Yeah, I'm
Dude,
worried about
I don't
that.
want to be in the crypt. That's a fucking kill box. There's one way in, one way out. Fuck that.
Anytime I watch a movie with Gia's dad or anything, he always goes, a gun in the first act goes off in the third. And the amount of times they said the crypts are safe,
know.
they're not
They're
safe.
not safe. They're not safe.
Well, yeah, if like someone dies down there, if they take someone who's like wounded and they die, and then the Night King revives them again
In the crypt.
Yeah,
This is
and
Walking
like
Dead
that
all
would be
over
real
again.
bad, real bad.
Walking Dead.
They just need a.
Makes me nervous.
You know what they need to do? Like Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible, when he breaks the light bulb, puts it on the ground.
Yeah.
And then the
Jack and
doves-
glass. Jack and glass.
Pigeons.
All over the floor.
That'd be a
dude.
smart thing because then they step on it, they disintegrate.
Immediately, yeah.
But that doesn't work for the whites, like the zombies.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
No.
Yeah, it does.
They don't-
Dragon
I mean,
glass?
they don't
Yeah.
disintegrate, but
Yeah.
they die.
They die.
Well, yeah, but like I think that's just the same as any other blade.
Hey, you stub in the toe though, die.
Stubbed toes are the worst.
I think the one thing that's good
Can't
about
fight.
the small entrance and exit to the crypt, even though it's clearly not fire code safety, it's a funnel point, right?
Yeah,
So if they have
yeah.
a couple key people with the right weapons, they could, hopefully defend it for
Yeah.
at least long enough to.
Dude, that is lunch and there's lions outside. That place is a fucking death zone. I'm not going in
There
there.
are theories that there is like an escape route inside the.
You would think they'd probably
Yeah.
figure that out, right? Because the
Yeah.
crypt
But, like-
would probably serve as like a, like a little bit of an escape route. But
The thing that's worrying is like we haven't had any hints to that at all
Right.
in the story. So it's like
Correct.
that is one of those things. Like Bran could be like last minute, but like that just seems like
Fucking
a.
high rolling it through the
well,
crypts.
because if you
Speed down.
But if
I
you
mean,
notice-
telling people like, hey, this is a way out.
but
But
if you notice, they had all when they showed the map, they had all of the action happening in the front of Winterfell and nothing behind it. So maybe they do have a plan to get out if they have to.
Go south.
Maybe.
you gotta imagine the army's gonna immediately surround.
I mean, if you were smart, you would.
Yeah.
Because they out what? They have like it's like 1 to 5.
It's like 100,000 to
like 20,000. Nothing. Not even.
maybe a bit more, like 30,000.
Yeah. So they're fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're
pretty-
fucked,
pretty
for
much.
sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so
Granted,
now
siege
the
tactics being what they
the
are.
big reveal. Ghost is back in the
Hell
scene
yeah, he
between
is.
Samuel, John, and Eddie.
The Night's Watch.
Also,
reunion,
like,
yeah.
just randomly shows up in the side of the
But
screen.
I didn't even see him. Did
What?
they not? This is the big wolf.
yeah, the
I didn't
dire
even
wolf.
fucking see him.
It was when they were standing like, and the scene. I loved this fucking scene because
Yeah.
it's mimicking them doing the watch on the wall,
the
but they're
wall.
doing the watch on.
Right. They even
Winterfell's
say that they're like, now our
castle.
watch has started or whatever.
begun,
It's
yeah.
begun.
So dope. But yeah, Ghost is just next to him chilling.
So they're
Just, like,
having this
looking out.
moment about like guarding the realms of men, and our watch has begun. Like the callback to their brotherhood that they developed when John was, the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, and it was a really touching moment, and I really liked that they had this. And it's crazy to think that Eddie kind of points out like it's just us now.
Yeah.
Like there's literally nobody left
Yeah.
because the army of the dead has rolled
Oh,
over
Pip
the
died so
wall,
hard.
and like there's
decimated
nobody
everyone.
left at Castle Black, and like that's it.
I just got a
moment.
really important tweet from AJ Licata, who sent me a 20-minute making of that HBO posted for episode 2, like the making of episode 2 or whatever, on their YouTube channel. And at the 6-minute 32-second mark, there are fucking rolling logs of dragon glass that are on the wall. So it looks like they're showing like different things, like different weapons and how Gendry's making all these
drop
things.
some stuff on the
So
side.
like,
We're fucking right. Holy shit,
Crazy.
Andy. Does this mean we're getting Blade Hand?
Oh my god! Wow.
Andy, are you really Bran? Like, are you Bran? Like, you just know what's up.
How cool would it be if it starts and it's a tight shot of Blade Hand getting at it? It's like, let's do this.
80s montage.
That's awesome.
Exactly. So transitioning from that scene into one of the best scenes also in this episode, an episode full of fantastic scenes.
Full of best scenes.
All the best scenes. Around the fireplace, we've got Tyrion and Jaime starting out in the room by themselves, having this conversation. I wish Father were here to see us.
He's
about
like,
to die for the Starks in Winterfell. Wouldn't he
only
have a
two
laugh?
sons, yeah.
And then them having like this moment, brother to brother, and Jaime talking about how my golden lion days are done, and really chalking up his transition from this formidable soldier that he used to be to something much less than, and how his desire for conquest and building the Lannister name is just gone, and he doesn't care anymore about any of that. I think like survival is clearly his modus operandi now. And then we have Podrick and Brienne walk in saying, sorry, we didn't mean to interrupt. We're just looking for a warm place. And then they pull up the chairs. And then they, of course, Tyrion wants to get everybody drunk, and Brienne being the responsible one's like, yo, the battle could start at literally any moment.
Half a
Don't
glass.
get wasted.
He goes have a glass and then he pours the fucking thing.
Fucking thing.
It's such a nice callback, remembering Podrick and Tyrion and where Pod came from, right? And how he became into Brienne's service.
But they have that look of like where he hands it to him. He's like, you know, where he's like, yeah, I'm gonna drink the fucking shit. Like, we're party boys back in the day.
Well, also like they're facing imminent death. Wouldn't you want to have a little bit of a buzz, knowing
courage,
that you
yeah.
might fucking die in a few hours?
I for sure would.
And yeah, so Tyrion has this line about contemplating imminent death, which I thought was really funny. And then, of course, you've got Sir Davos and Torment who make their way into the room, and then that fantastic Giant's Bane story.
God.
Jesus Christ. What a
So good.
like
So
what-
out
it
of
was like
nowhere.
a Nick Scarpino, why are you being so graphic right now moment.
Yep, that's exactly what it
his
was.
beer.
So they call,
So
I
good.
hear they call you King Killer, and then he's like, well, they call me Giant's Bane. Do you want to know why? And then
I'm
he
sure
goes into this
someone
whole
does, yeah.
story.
But I like that he got it wrong. Like, it's not
King-
King
yeah.
Killer, it's King Slayer.
Yeah.
But he's like, they
Yeah.
call you King Killer.
And he's like,
I don't care.
He's like, maybe somebody did.
Yeah, I'm sure someone did somewhere.
Also, the like, do you want something to drink? He's like, I brought my own. Such a cool Greg.
Brought my
Like,
own.
nah, I got it. Don't worry.
What's his face? At the end of that conversation, saying, "I think I'll have that drink now."
Yeah. Sir Davos.
Yeah, Davos. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. That's a great little witty line.
Is Davos gonna be out there fighting?
Oh, absolutely.
Ah, man, that seems like
He's
such
been
a,
in so many
yeah,
battles.
You're right.
So I thought it was a really nice moment where Tyrion is trying to pump everybody up, saying, you survived this crazy battle, and you survived this crazy battle, and look at us all still here alive. You know,
like, I think we're gonna win.
With you know,
Really funny moment.
I think in a later part, because we revisit this same group, I have a quote here that says, "I think we might live." But before we get to that moment, we cut away to the Hound on the top of the wall of Winterfell, drinking by himself. When then Arya comes over and sits next to him, and she's like, "Dude, why are you here? Like, what the hell are you even doing here? Like, why am I seeing you? Like, I don't understand." And he's like, "Who are you fighting for?" Essentially, and he said, "I fought for you, didn't I?" And they have this kind of like game, respect, game moment,
So good.
kind of continuing the moment that they had in the first episode of this season.
But I feel like also am I crazy, or is there a little bit of like fatherliness here?
Of course,
absolutely.
Right, where like we do
absolutely.
get that line where she's like, "You never fight for anyone," and he's like, "Well, I fought for you." Like,
Yeah.
come on, you know, like that's as best as I could say that I care about you. That's all you're gonna get out of me.
I do really wish that scene had ended with him giving the wine bag to what the dude that keeps coming,
Barrack.
Fire sword guy.
Barrack, yeah, and Barrack
Dondarrion.
drinking and been like, "Oh, water," as a good throwback to how much has changed with the scene we have earlier in Blackwater where he drinks and he's like, "Water." bring me wine.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we didn't,
Oh,
so
right.
whatever.
Yeah. Well, so Barrett comes in and says, the Lord of Light has brought us together. And I think the Lord of Light really is somebody that has a role to play here. Thinking about the magic of the Lord of Light and how it's figured into the entire series up until this point. It's something that we haven't really talked about and we haven't really had any insights into from the characters. The last we heard from Melisandre, right, was she left at the end of last season saying to Varys, I will be back to die in this land just like you.
Yeah.
Because she had left to go to Volantis and clearly intending to come back. When she's going to make her appearance, I think, is going to be hopefully splashy and that she brings lots of fire sword people to come and help. Everybody's
Holy
got
shit.
fire swords.
That'd be dope.
Then
Blade hands and fire swords.
Blade hands. I love it.
And then the double spear scene happens.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yes,
it does.
Arya and Gendry. So she's been giving him the sexy eyes.
Well, but
throughout the
before
first
she's
two
on, she's
episodes.
on the thing, and she's like, you know what? I'm not spending my last fucking night with you old assholes.
You
Screw
two,
this.
I'm outta here.
I'm out of this
I
shit.
wanna
And I'm
go
like,
get
oh,
some
I know where
ID.
she's going. it's. Let's put it this way: it's cold up on there, but it's warm by the fire.
God, I hate Nick.
We all knew it. I was like, is she gonna fucking get it all right?
I love how quick it happened too.
I know, dude.
And
No time to waste.
I'm happy that they banged because I was not feeling the how many women have you slept with. I wasn't feeling that. I was like, you're sort of faking this thing. Like I don't like where this conversation's going. It's kind of, but then fucking it's like, okay, good, you actually did it. You didn't just have her be
You didn't
this
tease it.
jealous girl. Like I didn't
See,
like
I
that
didn't
whole
get jealousy out of that. I got I want to know if you got the fucking goods, brother.
No, I
Because this
don't
might be
think
my
so.
one
I
and
think
only
you guys are
time.
forgetting this is a young woman who's probably never slept with anybody, maybe never even taken her clothes off with another man before. She's masking incredible insecurity amongst all of this, right? She's kind of discovering who she is as a woman, discovering what her sexuality is. And so, like any young lover, you want to, you're insecure. And so you want to know, how many guys have you been with? Am I going to be good enough for you? Are you even going to want me? Or do you think I'm too much of a tomboy or what have you? That's what I read out of that
I didn't get
situation
that
as a
read at
woman.
all.
Oh, I got jealousy out of it. I don't know.
Oh, I guess we all
of
got something
course, of
different.
course.
I got
Jealousy is
confidence of I'm
Jealousy
just
is part
of
I'm
it.
just
Yeah, I did
I'm
too,
just
yeah.
asking you these questions because
I want to make sure I'm
we're
doing
biding time here, buddy. I'm just getting you comfortable with this
Getting
situation.
you
'Cause
revved up.
She also asks about the is this
the
scene
red
she asks
woman.
about the red woman, right? And he goes, no, she did these horrible things to me, and then but she kind of
But
makes
it
a
was
joke
kinda
out of
hot.
it,
Yeah.
come on, dude, come on, bro, And then we get the great moment, that callback in the scene to the end where she's like, I'm not the red woman. You got to take your own fucking pants off.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, marry her?
Yeah. Wait, when did she get the Darth Maul spear?
It's
At the
right at
beginning of
start
that scene.
In that scene.
So the
Fucking
scene,
so cool.
Yeah, the scene starts with Gendry approaching her with the weapon and her looking at the weapon. A lot bigger than I thought it was going to be based on the drawing.
Yeah, it was.
Wait,
That's what she
which
said.
what's
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
Good for you, Gendry.
And so, and then that scene is what transitions them into her saying, "We're going to die soon," and then her lunging at him,
Getting they
kissing
fuck
him,
on,
and then
man.
they
So
take
good.
their
Good for them.
their leather clothes off.
And then everybody,
Leather clothes off.
the amount of tweets I saw of people Googling
How old she
Maisie
is,
Williams'
yeah.
age.
yeah.
Well, because
Because
she,
did
to
not
be
expect
fair,
to see side
she
boob.
looks very, very,
looks
very
very
young.
young.
Yeah.
And I was like,
the
"What?
amount
Can
of
I do this?
upset
Is this
about this,
legal?"
I'm like, motherfuckers, y'all need to chill the fuck out. We've seen this girl kill so many people, literally kill people, put them in a pie, and then feed them to the dad of the
Yeah.
people.
No, but you know what?
Who gives a fuck she's getting her fuck on?
No, but it
but you
feels
know
like
what
you're
the
seeing your
Just
little
a
sister.
It was a little side.
You're seeing your
boob,
little
it's fine.
sister
Little
bang.
side would never killed anyone.
See, the thing for me that I think the reason I had an interesting reaction to it is because we've seen her now for the last 7 years or 8 years go from being a little girl to this, and it's weird. It is weird to see someone that you kind of put in a place in your brain as being like the little sister, the young girl, have that sexuality. You're like, wow, okay, it's I don't want
She's
to
an
say a
adult
shocking
now.
moment, but it was a powerful moment. And then I'm like, oh right, yeah, she's in the show at least 18. You want to right?
Yeah.
Good for you. Go get what you want.
Get what you
Get what you want out of
Get
this
that
life.
Gendry D.
That-
dude.
that's-
Because you know what I'm
That's
telling you right
Stark and Bradley
now,
and,
Tim. If we knew we were dying tomorrow, Daddy would have another sugar-free Red Bull for sure.
God,
I know what you're
please
talking
stop
about.
calling
Yeah.
yourself
Great
Great
daddy.
analogy.
Yeah,
Please.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Um,
No, good on her. It was a good scene.
The weapon though, what do you think she's gonna do? Why does it have to come apart?
Because
Is
it
she
needs
gonna-
to be cool, Kevin. That's why.
But is she gonna jump off one of the, the side of the castle, try to
and use it like a propeller?
get on a dragon,
little bit?
and hook herself on a dragon, pull off, and then try to kill the dragon?
No. I don't think she's
No.
into this.
It's because they need to
Doubtful.
sell the
Is that
toy.
crazy? Is that crazy?
Kind of crazy, Kevin.
Whatever, dude.
Kind of
You guys
crazy.
don't have any imagination.
Let's wait till next week.
I know.
We got Blade Hands and fucking Propeller Andrea. Or Arya.
Propeller Andrea.
It's
There
my
it
new
is.
nickname, everybody.
I just
Love it.
picture Blade Hands looking
Hand.
Blade Hands. Well, maybe hands. You never know. I picture Blade Hands looking like the fucking character from Thor Ragnarok.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Meek.
Meek,
Meek.
yeah.
Yeah. I picture him looking like Meek. You know what I mean?
I'm getting a
No,
Tony
he's got,
Stark
like-
vibe in Infinity War.
Oh,
You know?
okay.
When he gets like,
Yeah.
Sure.
I was thinking about like Full Metal Alchemist. That's what I was thinking of.
it's a lot of good visuals here, you know?
I'm-
We'll have to see next week.
I'm thinking of the Omni tool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. So moving on to probably the most iconic moment, or certainly the most memed and tweeted about moment from last
good.
night's episode. Back to our crew around the fireplace, having a little bit of alcohol, reminiscing, are we going to die? Are we not going to die? Tyrion saying, I think we might live. And Brienne saying, at least we'll die with honor. And Torment kind of saying, well, at least we'll die together. And then having this realization that the odds are severely stacked against them, and that while they're all willing to fight, they all probably are going to die the next morning. And that's when Torment kind of has this moment where he says, Sir Brienne, and she says, no, I'm not a knight. And he's like, why not? Why aren't you a knight? Obviously, him being a wildling doesn't understand the rules below the wall and doesn't get why a woman can't be a knight, particularly a woman of Brienne's talent and stature. And she's like, it's not tradition. And saying, like, a king needs to make a knight. And Jaime going, actually, pushes his glasses up.
Yeah.
Any knight can make another knight, and I'm certainly a knight. And then,
But I love the fuck tradition. I
Yeah.
love that line.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
good.
yeah,
Dude,
So-
this whole scene, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like the acting in it was so good because like when he first says it, she's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, and then he gets up and you can see it in her face.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh shit, this is gonna
He's gonna
happen.
fucking do it.
Yeah.
And him doing it to her too, which
Yeah,
is so great.
perfect.
So
And just
earned.
what a testament to the writing and everything that we're still getting like such meaningful character development 8 seasons in to this show with characters that we've known for a long time. We're still getting like really impactful moments. It's fucking great, man.
And like him reciting the words, the oath, and the poem that you say tonight, calling back to the 7 gods, right? And listening to the words again, going, Brienne absolutely embodies everything here, probably more so than any of the other knights that we've met throughout the course of this show, across all of the episodes. And like the big dumb smile she gets on her face after she stands like as Sir Brienne of Tarth is just like, hit me right in the feels, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Great
So
job.
good. What?
Yeah, and I love that. I love that oath too. Like I love that it's like it's not. It's a. He's like, I charge you with this. Like this is your fucking
Duty.
This is your duty now
Yeah.
to do all these things. And she's like, I'm down, dude. By the way, I found what I was talking about. Here we go. It's called a peta sword, and they used it in Willow. And this is what it used to look like, Andy. Right?
Oh,
Sword hand.
yeah.
Sword hand.
Sword hands,
Sword
blade
hand.
hands.
Blade
I
hand.
think it's a great idea, Nick.
I think it's too late though.
Pata sword. Pata sword.
All right, so now we're moving into a short little scene, but I think also an impactful scene between Jorah and Lyanna Mormont.
Oh my God, yes.
Because I think it's easy to forget, like, yeah, Jorah is a Mormont, Lyanna is a Mormont. She's clearly now the head of the Mormont family and has been on Bear Island. He was outcast years ago. He's just there to fight for Daenerys, but he reminds her, you're the future of our house. If we survive, talking about how I wish you good fortune, cousin, she says to him. And it's clear there's some kind of tension there. She's obviously still judgmental about why he was cast out from the family. And he's just saying, like, I hope the best for you. Essentially, I want you to survive.
But the conversation was having is like, you need to be in the crypts, and she's like, fuck that, I'm fighting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fight. You can't stop me from fighting. It's like,
Right.
You're like a 9-year-old girl.
Yeah, but then
this
she
seems
goes-
like a mistake.
But then the scene ends. She's like, yeah, they wish each other like goodwill, and she walks back, and all of her guys are there, and then she gives them a look like, let's go fuck some shit up. And
Yeah.
they're like, yeah.
I love
they
that
just go
their
in there.
commitment to this
Yeah,
character
it's so
of like
good.
every time you see her needs to be cooler than the last.
It's
like
so
let's
dope.
just keep fucking
She's
going.
the
want her
coolest
to
character in this
die.
entire episode. She ain't gonna die.
But then the scene
gonna wreck some shit.
transitions into Samwell approaching Jorah with Heartsbane. So this is the family sword of the Tarleys that he stole when he left Old Town to come to Winterfell. Obviously, Longclaw is the Mormont family sword that the Old Lord Commander gave to Jon Snow. So Jon Snow is wielding that sword now. He tried to give it back to Jorah. Jorah said, "It's not for me. I can't take it. You keep it." But then Samwell says to him, like, "This is what your father meant to me. This is how he helped protect me and showed me and led me to be the man that I am today. I would be honored if you took my family sword and fought with it."
It's interesting.
It's poetic, man.
To guard the realms of men is what he says as he hands it over.
It's interesting to see the swords move around because, like, the Stark family sword went to now the Lannisters, who broke it up into 2 swords. Does Jaime have the second half? Does anyone remember the Widow's Bane?
So Joffrey had it.
Yeah.
We don't know where that sword is. We have to presume it's still in King's Landing with Cersei in the castle.
It's because it broke into 2, right? It was Widow's Bane and
There was enough because it was a long
Oathkeeper.
sword. Ned Stark's sword was a Valyrian
Giant.
steel long sword,
Yeah.
so there was enough steel to make 2 smaller swords, and that's what Tywin did.
Brienne has.
Brienne has
Brienne
Oathkeeper.
has Oathkeeper. Yes.
But like the pommel on
wait.
Jaime's sword is really cool.
Didn't they just give it to Bronn?
No, that was the crossbow that they used to
You're
kill
right.
his dad.
You're right.
Or their dad.
Yeah, so they did do a close-up on the sword that Grey Worm handed back to Jaime,
which
but
it
I
was a
don't
very
know
ornate
if that
pommel.
was the sword that was Joffrey's.
A lot of people are saying in chat that that's Joffrey's sword.
Okay, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, why would you do a close-up on the pommel of the sword,
But
right?
a lot of important people have the right
Valyrian
kind
steel.
of yeah,
Right.
It's really interesting stuff.
The right
And
player's
also-
got the tools.
Man, like this is a real moment for Sam. Like he doesn't have on hand. He doesn't have this special weapon. He needs to take care of the problem. So it's like, are we gonna?
He's got Jack Glass.
There's plenty of dragon
Yeah,
glass
I
weapons
know,
now.
but I like him not having the Valyrian steel because, again, he is the only person that's killed one of these walkers.
But he's not
in a
an
long
excellent
time.
swordsman. You know who is?
Absolutely
Jorah.
right. 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So he's
But
doing
that's-
the right thing here.
I feel like Sam's job is done. He's done
Yeah.
everything he needs to. You know.
His watch has
Okay.
ended.
So then we're kind of setting up to the end of the episode here. Sam and Jorah talking to each other, saying I hope we win. And Jorah being like, yeah, dude, me too. And then we're back in front of the fireplace, and Tyrion's like, let's have a song. And everyone's kind of like, nah,
We don't sing?
No, dog, no thanks. I'm not going to sing. And then
Podrick just being way too deep there.
sings Jenny's song, and what an amazing moment to kind of hear his voice with absolutely no instrumentation at all. It's just him a cappella, and then they cut to all of these different really somber scenes, knowing that the battle is mere hours away. Of all these people.
I just got chills.
Just like in Lord of the Rings,
Sansa
great
and
moment.
Theon,
Singing
you
over
have
battles.
Arya, Gendry.
Lord of the Rings.
And it's a really somber moment of remembering this could be their final moments together, and then everybody's dead.
And then everyone's dead.
So let me take one moment here to talk about the significance of Jenny's song. So there's a lot of theories going on about this. Clearly, only one line actually from the book A Storm of Crows, I believe, and then after the episode aired, where the showrunners come on and are like, let's deep dive into the episode, they talk about how they custom wrote the lyrics for the rest of this song. And so I don't want to go into a whole deep dive here into what the song could potentially mean. Essentially, though, it has to do with the Targaryens and Jenny of Oldstones, and maybe this is a prophecy about Jon Snow coming to fruition. If you guys are interested in that, there's a lot of rabbit holes you can find on the internet to explain the significance of Jenny's song.
Jenny from the block.
Exactly.
Thanks, Andy.
And the reason I want to kind of speed through that is because we have another incredible reveal. Jon and Dany are in the crypt. So Daenerys is down there. He's staring, Jon Snow staring at the stone marker of Lyanna. And she's like, who's that? And he's like, it's Lyanna Stark. And then he gives the whole story about who she is. And then she's like, she talks about Rhaegar, and she's like, people said my brother was a kind person and that he liked to sing. And I don't understand how but they also said that he raped her. And then Jon's like, no, that's not true. And they got married in secret. They had this baby. And then
Also, those things not mutually
drops the bomb
exclusive.
on her, right?
Being a bad guy that would rape and stuff and liking to sing in your spare time. It's not like, oh, he likes to sing.
No, but
he couldn't possibly have
what
done
she
it.
was saying is they were saying he was such a had a great character and was such a good guy.
Those things don't line
Yeah.
up with this action this one
Yeah.
thing that he was supposed to have done was
And
terrible.
then damn, how deep did we get this moment where he's like, the way he tells the story too, holy shit, he like great acting from Kit Harington.
Yeah,
I'm
kill
just
it
gonna
again.
say this though. You could have saved that for after tomorrow.
You're not. That's not Jon Snow, man.
Well, he's stupid.
Yeah,
and he's
he
never
knows
been good at
100%.
tactics because now she's looking at him like, "Fuck, I gotta kill you." Like there's a
or
thought.
marry him.
Now you're gunning for me.
Well, no, now it's like you see that look in her eye where she's like, "Fuck, now this is the thing I got to figure out." And what better way to figure this out than maybe someone kills him tomorrow and nobody knows, right? I'm just saying that's a possibility. Not that
That's
Danny would do
definitely a
that,
possibility.
but that's a fun. I would
I'm
not
not
tell
above that.
the queen that I was going to challenge her because she's basically like, didn't she say that? She's like, shit, you have claim to the throne now,
She
right?
says that that would make you the last male heir to the Iron Throne. But
Right.
I think before we get to that
Yeah,
moment,
that damn horn.
you can see the conflict on her face. They've been having this weird vibe the whole episode. Every scene they're in together, Jon is cold and she's confused. She's like, "What's happening? Why are you turning away from me?"
The
This
first
is like
scene,
our last
he walked
night.
away immediately.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's just there's a distance there, and she's clearly trying to close that distance and reconcile with him while she goes down to the crypt, puts her arm on his shoulder, is there trying to have a connection before they could possibly die the next day. And that's when he drops this crazy bomb on her, and she doesn't know what to do. And I think the reason why Jon had to tell her, because he also needed to get it off his chest, to be like, I don't want to go into this crazy battle having this looming over me. And it's probably better that she told him before the battle than afterwards. So it doesn't look like if they survive that he's just trying to make a claim to the throne, right?
I agree 100% with that. Like that, it was the right time, and also he is an idiot, and like he doesn't think about the right moves. He thinks about what he thinks is the right move. You know, like what he should be
that's
doing.
again
The just thing to do.
echoed. That's what his dad did. It wasn't smart. It got his head locked off for that, and that's
But
what we
it's-
know. We know that
Yeah, no, Jon doesn't play the Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
you got to play the game, or else you get punished.
I hope
So-
it gets
It's all
fun.
So
about
maybe
the
he
game
gets
and how you play it.
punished.
It is Triple H.
So yeah, he finally says my real
Every
name is
episode.
Aegon Targaryen, and she struggles, and then we get a cutaway because we now hear the horns outside
Shit's
the
starting.
wall signal that the enemy has arrived. We get the close-up shot of the hooves of the horses of the generals. We don't actually see the Night King though. Important to note, we just see a line of his
little
kind
A
of
lot more
generals.
generals showing up.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the final battle.
But I always just thought that there was like 3 generals.
No, there's 12.
I never knew that. I don't know why.
There's
It's just
remember
like
the
the ring
shot we
wraiths.
see when they're making the baby one. It like pans wide, and you can see that there's like I don't know.
I guess
Going
I-
back to the first season.
I guess in certain scenes, certain battles that we see the walkers, it's the Night King, and sometimes you only see
usually
3 generals.
3 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when
But
there was
then-
all these other ones, like,
There's
oh
a lot.
fuck, a lot of people got
Is
promoted.
this the final battle? Because if it's not the final battle for them, right? If they kill everyone in the north, they still got to march down
Yeah.
the south and kill everyone at King's Landing.
Correct.
But I don't know. I don't
also,
think
why don't they run?
What do you mean?
They're walkers. They don't have energy.
Wait, why do they or don't they?
Why don't they?
Well,
Don't need to.
the
They don't have
white
stamina meters.
Exactly.
But I think they also aren't in a hurry.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't need to
let
rush.
these
We don't need to rush
zombies
to it.
take care of
When we get
everything.
there, we'll get there.
Yeah, we don't sleep.
Yeah,
no, I mean everybody.
Oh.
I mean the whole
You mean
army.
run to the next
Like, why
battle?
are they just like walking like to the
but
next
I think
thing
this is
slowly?
a good question though, because we don't really know what the motivations of the Army of the Dead are. We don't know what the Night King's motivations are. Like, what are they fighting for? Why is it that they just want to decimate all of life?
But
Right?
don't they
this
have a
episode-
conversation in that? Isn't that what Sam said?
Yeah, so this episode finally gave us a little bit more information where it was Brandon being like, they just want to kill and get rid of humans.
They want to wipe humanity out. Like,
and
they
like
want to
that's
wipe them.
why
and
I'm going to
it's-
be their big target because I have
I'm
the
the
memory
memory.
of all this.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. That motivation seems kind
Oh,
of
it's
It's a little lame.
always
Kinda-
been
it
weak.
seems thin.
Yeah.
But here's
Lame.
the- Game of Thrones has not been about this. This has been a through line that connects everything, but Game of Thrones has been about the politics and
relationships,
the
yeah.
relationships, and that's why I think that like the next episode might really be the end of this whole side of
You never know.
Game of
Maybe the
Thrones.
Night King though is another long lost Targaryen, and we just don't know.
Maybe.
Also, as an aside, should I just added fucking Ghost to the back like they just added?
Yeah,
it?
naturally.
Damn.
Yes,
and
you
me,
should.
can you add me
Just
back
like
there too
floating.
somewhere?
Okay, I thought it would be a
4
fun
blade hands.
exercise if you guys are interested. I made a
love
list
this
of
idea.
I made a list of characters here about who we think is going to live and who we think is going to die. Blue.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, Tim's favorite color is red, so make it red.
Blue.
There it is. I made you blue, dude.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Before we get into that bit, I want to read a couple of the Patreon responses that people sent in. Nerd Cadet says, yes, fuck tradition. Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, Sir Brienne of Tarth.
Oh, we're
doing the haiku. We're not necessarily, but you can. Like Fighting Wombat writes in, Brienne is a knight. Gendry gives Arya a spear. Wow, Podrick can sing.
Sure can.
P.S. I know I don't have to do haikus, but I'm committed at this point.
Thank you,
I do appreciate. Jeremy
quick.
Z writes in and says, Theon wants to redeem himself and guard Bran. Theon's gonna die. Brienne's dream came true and she became a knight. She's gonna die. Grey Worm has dreams of a peaceful life after war. He's gonna die. Sam told Jorah he would see him after the battle. Jorah's gonna die. Between this and Avengers, this weekend's likely gonna have a lot of death.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's gonna be rough chuckles. I don't think a lot of people are necessarily gonna die in the first half of the battle, but certainly by the second half. Okay, so let's run through this.
Wait, do you think that this is going to be 2-episode battle?
They've already said it's going to span 2 episodes.
Did they?
Yes.
I didn't know
Showrunners
that.
announced that ahead of the season.
Because I thought,
no.
But the next is the next episode one of the ones that's supposed to be like feature length long.
Yes.
Yeah, so they-
from here on out.
This is the longest consecutive battle sequence ever put to cinema, or ever put to film in cinematic history.
So next week is an hour 22 minutes. Then after that's an hour 18. Then after that's 120. Then after that's 120.
I have to imagine we're going to get some cutaways to what's happening in King's Landing and what's happening
hope
with
not.
Cersei.
I don't think so.
I
You don't
loved-
think so? Over the next 2 episodes?
So there's a reason I don't think so. Well, I don't know about the 2-episode thing.
I really
if
hope
it's
that's
the
not
longest
the case.
battle.
That's super long. It doesn't have to be, 2 hours and 40 minutes? Like, it doesn't need to be that long. That's too much.
Well, don't forget, this is the whole episode isn't going to be fighting the whole time, right? We're going to be cutting away to what's happening in the crypts. We're going to be cutting
Sure.
away what's happening between Bran and the Night King. What's happening with the dragons, right? Like, so there's a lot going on here.
Hour 22 minutes though. So nanobiologist writes in and says the director of the next episode, in episode 5, is the same director who did Battle of the Bastards and Hard Home. This next episode is 82 minutes, so we're in for a treat. But so that's if he's doing the next episode and episode 5.
3 and 5.
3 and 5. Okay, that does throw that
Yeah.
off then, because he's the battle guy, right? Like he's so far done the big battle.
But
A
there's
lot
also-
of people in chat are also saying that this battle is what they've said and what they're gathering is it's only 1 episode.
That would make more sense.
That would make more sense because I don't think making us wait
pull-
a week like
I'll
that's
pull
some
the Entertainment Weekly article
bullshit
that I got that
TV
from.
stuff, you know.
I mean, that's what they're gonna do. If you think it's bullshit TV stuff, look what fucking Infinity War did. That's the most biggest cliffhanger ever.
It's true. It's true.
No,
She's
Infinity
right.
War
Could've been
ends,
4 hours.
you know?
Making you wait a single week is not making you wait a whole year. Okay, so
They made us wait 2 years for this show to come back.
let's go on this exercise and then I'll find the article. Unless someone in chat wants to help me with that. All right, so I'm gonna run through these characters. All you need to say, and you don't need to give too much explanation because there's a lot of characters you got to get through. Just say lives or dies.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. First, Nick, Daenerys.
Lives.
I also think she lives. Kevin,
Lives.
Andy,
Lives.
Lives.
You want to just do L and D?
sure.
Yeah.
Grey Worm,
Dies.
Oh, sorry.
Dies.
Kevin,
Dies.
Andy.
I'm gonna say lives.
Okay.
Why you always gotta be?
I think Miss Sunday will die.
Okay. Missandei.
I think she lives.
Okay. I think she dies.
I think
Kevin.
she lives.
Dies.
I really think it can go either way, and it doesn't matter. I'm gonna say lives.
Okay. Jorah.
Which one's?
Jorah Mormont.
Oh, I think he dies.
Dies.
Yeah.
I think he dies too. Kevin,
I think he lives.
Andy,
Fuck. Dies.
Tim,
This is tough.
Dies.
I like this.
Sir Davos.
I think he lives because I think he lives through everything, and I love him. And he's also
There's no
when I go
reason for him
bald,
to
I want
die.
to look like him.
I think there's no reason for him
He's
to die.
not a good warrior.
I know, but it's like I feel like his character and everything that we've
Yeah.
seen, it's like he is one of the good ones, just purely. And it's just like it, and him dying isn't going to be like some poetic no.
Yeah.
It's just like he deserves to
Jorah
live.
dying would be very
I
a
think
very
he dies.
interesting moment. I think Davos
lives.
dying, you're like, oh, that sucks.
Lives. I'll say Davos lives.
Okay.
Davos lives.
So I'm the only one who thinks he dies. Tyrion.
I think he lives.
Nick.
Definitely lives.
Tyrion has to live.
Lives.
I still got my
At
money's
least
on
through the next
Tyrion for
episode.
taking it
Everyone
all, for
thinks he
going all the
lives.
way and taking the championship at the end. You know.
You think he takes the Iron
I
Throne?
Why are
think
you
he takes the Iron
winking
Throne.
at us? Like it doesn't make.
Jamie, do you think he lives or dies?
I think he lives.
Okay. I
Also,
think-
he's my second. I think there could be a possibility he just ends up taking the championship
actually,
as well.
I'm gonna go. I think he dies.
I'll say lives.
Kevin.
I think he lives. I think we're gonna get a more poignant end with him and
I think he kills Cersei.
I think he lives too. And like, this is the thing is like with this, we have 3 episodes after this, so it's like there needs to be some characters.
Jamie
left.
has to kill Cersei. That's
a good point.
He's got to be
I
the
think,
queen
I
slayer.
think Cersei's gonna kill Jamie and herself at the same time.
Oh,
Do you think she just goes boom and then takes herself over the cliff?
maybe.
No.
She tries to fuck
King's
his
Landing.
blade
So
and gets
that's
in the
King's
way.
Landing
that's the
explodes
theory
what
is
I
that
want,
she's
yeah.
putting wildfire underneath all of King's Landing. So
Oh,
when
it's
the army
already
of-
there.
Yeah,
She's not
so when
putting
the
it, yeah.
so when the army of the dead comes, she blows the whole city to hell. That's the theory.
And then
Cersei, so Cersei, obviously, we know she lives through the Battle of
lives.
Winterfell because she's not there. Jon Snow.
Ooh.
See,
I think
don't
he
know.
dies.
I think it's a 50-50. Like, because I think that it depends on how they want to take the rest of the show. He either lives and like he is the main character and whatever, or fucking Daenerys kills him. And I want that to happen because what does that leave us for the rest of the
way.
show?
I'm gonna go with he lives. Kevin.
I think he lives. Could he, wait, real quick, could he die and then the red woman comes out of nowhere?
Nah.
Fucking
No, he specifically
dies
said
again?
he told her,
Yeah,
"Don't
not
bring
to
me
bring
back
it.
again."
She doesn't listen. She does
She said
whatever
the
she
red.
wants.
She
That'd be
said,
lame.
she said the God does whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
It's not your call. Fuck. Just thinking about this breaks my heart. But
Okay.
I gotta say he lives. But I'm still like really. It hurts my heart to even think of that possibility.
Yeah, see, I
Yeah.
think he dies because I think it's just mirroring what happened to Ned. I think his principles and his honor are what killed him.
I think
Tim?
Oh, sorry, Tim.
I'm going. I do think it's 50-50 with him, but I'm gonna say Dice. I think that's more interesting.
I have a specific theory about this. I think in the battle at some point next episode, Dany has the opportunity to save Jon from like a bunch of White Walkers or something and chooses not to, and someone else sees that. Jon lives.
And Sansa sees it, and then goes,
Sansa
"Fuck you,
sees
I'm gonna
it,
kill
and
you,
then
Dany."
Sansa, either at the end of episode 3 or at the beginning of episode 4, Sansa kills Dany. And that's my theory.
Damn,
If
that would
Sansa
be-
kills Danny,
Or
That puts
I'm gonna
Sansa-
lose my shit.
Or
in
there's
the
like
worst way.
another altercation between Dany and Jon, and one of the dragons defends Jon.
Oh,
That would be cool.
That would be intense. And
All
see,
right.
there's so
Here for
many
it.
different ways, man.
I'm just here for I want Danny John beef. I think that the show needs it.
A little bit of conflict.
Also,
Yeah.
they have no chemistry, so yeah,
Eddie.
it does need it.
Stop. You guys are awful.
So he's
Which one's Eddie?
he's the Night's Watch, the guy left from the
Oh,
Night's
he's
Watch.
dead as fuck.
Dead. Yeah, absolutely.
Like
Dies.
he's dead as fuck.
I think he dies too.
Yeah, I'll say dies.
Are they really just killing everyone? Like,
Yeah,
Kevin?
is that what we're
Dies.
getting?
Oh yeah.
Holy
think he dies
shit.
too?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're gonna have a lot
Tim?
of great moments of death.
I mean, sure. Yeah. More
we all
likely
think he
than
dies?
not, right?
Samwell.
I think he lives.
So the biggest thing for me is Samuel living is that like the theories that he is writing a song of whatever.
Song of Ice and
Yeah.
Fire. Yeah, I think he lives
Sam
too.
lives.
I'm
Sam
gonna
lives
put
through the whole
I'm gonna
thing.
put die.
Okay.
I'm gonna put die.
Andy?
I'll say lives.
Tim?
I think Sam makes it all the way.
Okay.
People in the chat are really like
Gilly.
this. Gilly, I think lives.
Gilly lives.
Gilly lives.
Gilly lives. She reminds me of Davos, where I'm like,
You're too heartless to
point.
kill her.
Yeah.
There's no,
If
you're
anything,
too
I
good.
can
There's no
see her-
point in killing
point
your
in
story.
killing
I can
Otherwise.
see her saving people down in the crypt, like killing a white.
I'm going to go with dies, and Samwell has to raise little Sam on his own.
Oh,
I'm going to go
interesting.
with dies. Kevin? Gilly, does she?
Yeah, lives.
Lives? Do you all think she lives?
I'm giving her the live.
Okay.
No,
Torment.
man.
Which one's Torment? Oh, Torment.
What do you mean, which one's Torment?
Sorry, I forgot.
You gotta stop saying that. It's pissing off Paula.
I apologize. I think Torment dies, but I think his death is fucking epic.
All right,
I think it's epic.
I think he dies and saves Brienne.
Yeah.
I think he like
Ooh.
sacrifices his
Hell yeah.
life, and it's fucking awesome and epic. And Brienne is like, "Oh shit, that sucks."
Too bad I kind of secretly love
Yeah.
Jamie.
I think he dies too, but I think he dies sacrificing himself to save Jon.
I see him going down
can
the
see
way
it too.
Sean Bean dies in Lord of the Rings, where it's just like fucking
So
getting
weird.
fucked up, but he's
Yeah,
still fucking
dude.
people up. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that he
The
can
way 1-1
sacrifice
goes
himself.
down in the Battle of the Bastards.
Yes.
He can't sacrifice himself for Brienne because that undermines her character.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like they need to have
yeah,
her
but
be a
she said
badass.
everyone's
I don't think it
sacrificing
takes-
themselves for everything.
She
I don't think it's
sacrifices
gonna work,
herself
man.
for him.
This is why I
No,
think
that
he
would be a
sacrifices
disappointment.
himself for Jon. I feel like that would be a more significant moment because they've had this kinship, this
Yeah.
brotherhood since his days when he was in the army of the wildlings, right?
Banging in caves. Yeah.
I say,
I think
We
Jamie
love
dies for
Torment too
Brienne.
much for him not to die.
I'd say he lives.
Okay. Tim?
I'm going to say dies.
Damn it, Tim.
This is a dark episode.
No, it dies.
That dies.
Oh, dies. Beric Dondarrion.
Oh, dead for sure.
Yeah.
Dead.
Dondarrion.
He's the one
guy
who's
with the
died a
eye
million
patch.
times with eye
Nick,
patch.
also,
I'm
do you
Beric
watch the
Dondarrion.
show?
They're all the same names.
No, Beric Dondarrion is a very unique name.
got the-
Torment, Beric,
he's got the
Gendry, they're all
fire
the same
sword.
fucking shit. Jorah, Jorash,
No, they're
Jordash,
not. Well,
they
Bran,
make-
Bronn, Brand.
They make a specific note that Thoros, the
guy who
the
with the
disciple,
balding head.
the kind of warlock of the Lord of Light that has brought him back is now gone.
Dead.
And so he has
And his
nobody
little
left to
ponytail.
revive
Oh,
him.
he's dead
really,
as Disco then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
So
dead.
I'm going with dead too. Is everyone thinking
Yeah.
he dies?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's Beric's time.
Is he gonna be cool? I don't know.
He's
I don't
come
think
back
so.
enough.
The Hound.
I think he lives.
Lives.
I
I
think
think he
Hound lives
lives,
through
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
He's got the mountain to fucking
I
take
think
on.
the-
Oh,
still.
you're fucking right. Yeah, we need to get that.
Also, like, how did he
Clegane Bowl.
Clegane
fucking?
Bowl.
yeah, Clegane
How
Bowl,
did they
baby.
fix his fucking thigh broken in half?
Dude, man.
Like, how the hell did that
you know,
happen?
they like they found him and they fixed it and he's all good
Jesus.
now. It was rotting, but
Do we
he's
all
fine.
think the Hound lives?
You don't think?
Yes.
You don't think they're gonna put Brienne against the Mountain
No,
because she beat the Hound?
Maybe.
Yeah, but they've
it's-
been building up.
it's gonna be the Hound against the mountain. He's gonna start losing. Arya's gonna come in and save the day.
Or maybe the Hound dies defending Brienne.
Or maybe the Hound
Which would
dies
be
in
a-
this,
which would be a
defending
twist.
Arya because she's going out into the battle as well.
The Hound has to face Mountain.
Arya knows what
Yeah.
she's doing. Yeah, the Hound and the mountain need to have
All
their
right, the Hound
one-on-
lives.
Yeah,
Next,
Arya.
I think she lives.
Lives.
She's a survivor,
Yeah, I think
and she has a
does.
plan. There's something going on with
And
the spirit that
she's
she
sneaky.
understands.
I think, like, you know,
I think she kills the
lives
Night
too.
King.
Sansa.
that's.
I think that's a safe assumption.
I think that's a real. I
Lives.
think.
I don't think she's involved in the battle either.
I think she's
I think
sneaking
she
around. I
dies.
think she's which one?
Really?
Sansa.
Sansa's living.
I kind of hope she dies.
She lives.
Oh,
I think Sansa
her
lives,
character, her
and
character arc is played out, man. She
Dude,
needs to go.
I agree with you, but the
Whoa.
problem is we have so few characters now, and if we're about to kill off even more now, there needs to be some
gotta
characters
be
left.
beef.
There needs to be
for
tension
3
afterwards,
episodes
yeah.
of things, and Sansa has so much power.
She's a big player.
Yeah,
I think she
so I
lives.
don't
Okay.
think she can die this early.
I think she lives.
She's Lady Winterfell, man.
Lives.
put a
So
big L.
I'm the only one who thinks she dies.
Yeah.
Okay.
We see where your allegiances lie.
Theon definitely
Dead
dies.
as
Dead for
Dead
sure.
as disco.
Or
Dead
maybe
and,
not.
like,
We never know. But does everybody think
Yeah.
Theon dies?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Dead.
think he does
Saving
too.
Bran.
I think Bran
Bran.
lives. I think Bran
Does
lives.
Bran survive?
No.
He's already died.
He's
if you know
kind
what
of
I
got to
mean, you know?
survive.
I think he
though,
lives
right?
because I don't think they're gonna kill the. I don't think this
Three-Eyed
is
Raven?
No, I don't think they're gonna kill the Night King.
Really?
I don't think. I think something's gonna happen, and there's gonna be more.
I think
to the story because I think he's gonna go to King's Landing.
I'd be real surprised.
I think
I feel like they need to like just finish the
They
stuff
need to
to
end the
get to
story.
the people.
Yep.
in King's Landing.
If Bran lives, or if Theon dies, then I think Bran lives. I don't
Right.
think both of them die.
Right.
So I'll say Bran lives.
I say lives.
I mean, technically,
I'm assuming you
we're
said
all
yes.
right and wrong because Bran's already dead.
That's how I started this book.
Yeah. Brienne. Does she survive the battle of
Dude,
Winterfell?
she definitely lives.
I think she lives.
Just give me a night.
I'll
with
say
hold fast.
dies.
It's gonna be heartbreaking, like, but that's the kind
If
of
she
real
dies, it's
emotional
devastating.
moment that we would need, right?
I'm saying dies.
Dude.
But jeez.
No,
Fuck, you know
Tim.
what? I think she dies in this too. Good. Can you change my answer to dies?
I can.
I said lives.
You did.
Yeah.
Man.
I think she dies.
Man.
This is gonna be insane.
My heart's breaking already.
Wow.
Well, actually, no. I'm gonna go with I think she lives because I think Gendry is next on the list. I think he dies for sure.
I think Gendry.
He dies.
No.
Because we don't care about
Henry-
the we don't care about the
so
Baratheons
high.
anymore.
Yeah, but I feel like there's
Gendry lives.
if
He's a
Gendry,
Baratheon.
yeah, Gendry lives and then lives with is with what's her face
Arya.
Gendry's endgame,
like
baby.
that is like that's what we want,
Yeah.
and like this is a lot of this is them giving us.
I
what
think
we want.
Gendry lives.
I think
yeah.
Bran lives. I think Bran lives. I'm changing it back to lives.
You're changing it back
Yeah,
to lives.
because
Okay.
I want her and Jamie to have like another moment.
So you guys all think Gendry lives?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he dies. I think Gendry dies.
I think he
would
dies
suck.
too. I think he dies, but
Podrick,
I think,
on the other hand-
I think he dies, but I think that Arya's pregnant,
What?
and then they have a Stark Baratheon.
The seed
baby.
is strong, guys. The seed is strong.
Podrick. I feel like Podrick dies for
actually,
sure.
I think Podrick dies, and I
Right?
think that's going to be one of the
Podrick
hard
is dead
ones.
as doornails, and I think Brienne's going to
Podrick
see
lives.
him die.
Yeah.
Podrick
Podrick
like-
dies, but his dick lives.
His dick goes on and kills two
Yeah.
more soldiers before it dies.
What do you think, Kevin?
I think he's gonna die.
You think he's gonna die?
Damn, I didn't even think about the fact that like some of these dead people can then come back and fight.
Yeah.
Fight for the Night King. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Podrick for you too.
I'm gonna go lives.
Okay. Andy.
I say he dies.
Okay. Lyanna Mormont.
I want her to live.
If she
I don't think they can
dies, I
kill
think I'll
her.
turn it off and I'm done. You
I
know?
say she lives.
She's one of the best characters.
I don't
They
think the
gotta
show
keep
can
her.
kill somebody that young that's
Bullshit. The
important.
show can do anything.
Dude, they
they want.
brought
They just
the
went
little
a
child
time on
alive.
fire in the
Ned-
last episode.
Yeah, but
dude.
it's Ned Umber versus a girl who's like
Shireen.
a
Yeah,
huge
dude.
fan favorite.
Yeah, man.
Shireen, dude. Shireen was beloved by all.
She had it coming, man.
Nah, you're making a lot of sense. You're right.
She did. She talked a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I think she dies. Kevin?
I think that she lives, and I think
Okay.
that she's the one that defends the entrance to the cave.
The crypt?
Yeah, the crypts.
That's a good call.
That'd
Because
be
I think
really
all the
fucking
characters
cool.
that died in the prior seasons, those are all George R.R. Martin. Now the blood is on D.B. Weiss and fucking
Yeah.
Benioff's hands, and they're
Yeah.
like, we don't want to kill this young girl.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I say she lives.
That's an interesting
Damn.
perspective.
But they also
Tim?
they know the ending of what
Yeah.
Martin wants to do.
But I guarantee you, Lyanna Mormont was not
Isn't a
in
big player.
in those notes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I think she lives, but
Okay.
not
Dude.
because of that. I just think that
Yeah.
she lives.
If she defends the crypts, then she is still defending like the future of all of the North.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I just
awesome.
like.
She's a great
I
character.
think back to another epic battle that I loved that also lost a lot of amazing characters, and the Battle of Hogwarts in the final book of the Deathly Hallows, and how many people died. And I was like, I remember reading that and having
really
these like
too
visceral
real right
reactions
now.
to like another one was dead, another one is dead, and I was like, everybody's fucking dying.
It's like Infinity War.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's gonna be bad. Lady Karstark. So this is the
Karstark.
young girl. So the
young
reason I
buzz.
put her on this list is because they featured her prominently in the council scene around the table, which means that Daenerys or Sansa is bringing her in as one of the lords of the North or ladies of the North.
The Karstarks
So-
are a big name, and that's
Yeah.
why we've heard them so much. I don't think she'd be shooting. What?
Are you googling?
Tim Google's lady, and the first thing that pops up is Gaga.
I don't
know
think
this
she should be
person
on
at
this
all.
list. I don't think she matters.
I think she lives.
Whatever.
Yeah, I think she lives probably.
Okay.
Yeah, no one.
Although-
no one cares.
Total non
She lives.
sequitur. Just googling all of the Game of Thrones
Do you
characters.
guys think she lives?
Yes.
Yeah.
Car-
I just wanna put in that I
Karis
do
Van
not care.
Houten, the red woman, dating Guy Pearce. What? Power couple.
Wow.
Okay. I'll watch that.
I followed her on Instagram. I have such a
Varys.
crush on her. Varys dies.
Oh, fuck.
I think Varys dies.
Varys lives.
Varys
I think
is
he
a
lives.
survivor.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Heidi
he's in the
says he
crypt.
dies.
He's in the back of the crypt finding
Yeah.
the exit. Let's put it
Yeah,
that way.
yeah,
His little birds are finding him a new place to go exit, to go leave
So, but
to.
you say you think he dies?
I think he dies.
Okay.
I said lives.
Now, Bronn, we don't know if he's actually going to show up for
He'll
the
show
battle
up.
or
He's
not.
showing up.
He's showing the
You
fuck
think
up.
he's showing up?
He's showing up and he's
to.
living.
So we know he's on his way there. Cersei has given him the crossbow, and she's like, "Go murder him." I think
Yeah, he's
Bronn
not doing
gets
that.
there just in time, and
I think he's gonna
he
save.
fights-
I think he saves
fight-
Jaime's
I think
life
he
with the
fight-
crossbow.
Yeah, I think he fights with Jaime.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Bronn lives.
Lives.
Bron's awesome.
Bronn is
I just
awesome.
want that side story.
What if we'd never see Bronn again and he already left? He's gone. He was like, fuck this. I
Fuck
know it's
these
not going to
people.
go well. See you guys later.
I'm going to that place with the beach with the butterflies that are dangerous. That's where I'm going.
So a couple other characters I haven't really put on here that I'm not sure if it's necessary to add is the Blood Riders of the
Yeah, they don't matter.
Khalasar. Do we care about the Dothraki and what the kind
what
of
about a Dothraki?
Expendable.
You're gonna die.
Red coats, you're done.
What about
Although they have
three-
the horses
three
and you got to see
dragons.
No, I was talking about Ghost.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ghost is going to die.
Ghost
and that's
is the last wolf alive.
Technically, Nymeria is still alive.
She's
out
not
in the
technically.
forest.
She's definitely still alive and chilling.
Well, I mean, we don't know that for sure. The last we saw her, she was in the woods, but like we don't know what's happened to her since then. We
She's got a
presume-
dope
She's just
pack.
living her free life.
Yeah, we presume that she's alive.
Yeah.
Do we think Nymeria shows up in this scene?
There's a possibility. I think there's a 50% chance.
Budget wise, I don't think so. I think that we get Ghost dying.
I think this is the budget episode though. Like
This is where they
the high
pulled
budget
out all
episode.
the
yeah, but you
monies.
have to remember they've got a fuck ton of like they're gonna have 2 dragons going against a ice dragon. Like that's gonna that'll be a big chunk of it, and like that's where the budget's going. I think we're gonna get just a little bit of Ghost and just enough for him to die and be like, well,
Cool scenes.
he was never really a Stark, so you know, John was never a Stark.
So lives or dies? Ghost.
Ghost dead in my yellow.
I'll say dies as well. I just
Tim.
don't know.
I'll say lives just to keep it interesting.
I'll say lives. I say if Jon Snow dies, he dies.
I think he dies too. And let's talk about. I think I spelled the third dragon's name wrong. Let's talk about the 3 dragons:
Okay.
Oh shit.
Viserion,
Viserion, Drogon, and
Rhaegar.
And Bobo.
Rhaegar.
Rhaegon.
Rhaegon, right?
Rhaegar's the
And
dude who's named
Bobo.
after.
Yeah. So
Um,
and so right now, Viserion is the is the
one,
undead dragon.
That gets taken down.
Dies? Dragon dies.
By Arya. Let's
think
go.
he
That's
dies?
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think the only dragon. There's only be one dragon left, and it's going to be like one of the.
I
Good
think
dragons.
Drogon survives.
I think Jamie gets in that catapult as Blade Hand, and they fucking shoot him towards the dragon.
Yes,
he just misses it.
Does
and keeps
anybody
going.
think that Viserion is dead for
Yes,
dead for good?
Yeah.
I think he dies in this episode.
God, if he doesn't, and like the Night King still survives, and they're all going to King's Landing, this is the craziest show ever.
Do we think
Drogon lives or dies?
I think
So Drogon is
The big guy.
Daenerys is.
Yeah.
The black one. I think he lives.
Okay. Tim?
Yeah,
I think he lives.
Kevin?
I think he lives, but is he a girl dragon or a boy dragon? Is he pregos?
What?
You know
dragon
what I
eggs?
mean? Yeah,
Little
popping some
Cadbury mini eggs
dragon
coming up?
eggs. Because there's a lot of when dragon people or people bind with their dragons, the people they fall in love with, their dragons also fall in love. So did the dragons get it on in the last episode?
So,
Maybe.
And now we're gonna get some little dragon babies.
That'd be hot.
What's up?
Drogon, do you think he lives or dies?
I'll say sure lives. Neuroman27 in the chat asked another question though. Do you think Bran wargs into a dragon?
Nah.
Actually, he said guaranteed that's going to happen.
That
Not if John is riding Rhaegon, right? Like,
But John, for the most part, like he's never fought. Like he's always on land. I can't imagine him being like, "I'm gonna go up there." Like I don't
He's
feel
getting
like
on
he's
that
gonna.
dragon.
I think he's
100%.
gonna get on it, but I don't think he's gonna stay on it.
no, I don't think.
I
he'll
think
stay
there's
on
going to
it
be
either.
a coordinated attack where they're maybe
Yeah.
going against the ice dragon, hit it from both sides, and then he drops to the ground and he's running around, and that's when Brandon can
wargs
jump in and
Interesting.
warg him.
I think it's definitely a possibility.
Do we think Rhaegon survives this fight?
skin change, not warg.
Actually, I changed my mind. I think Rhaegon dies, and I think Rhaegon lives and Drogon dies. Just because he's like the main one, I think that's going to be like
There you go.
I don't know the difference.
the
See, what
heartbreaker.
could be really
Lives.
interesting is if
Dies.
Daenerys does kill Jon, and then her dragon dies, and then there's the beef between his dragon and her.
I got
Yeah.
some comments in the chat saying it's Rhaegal.
Yeah.
Rhaegal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I thought Rhaegon.
It's a dumb name regardless, am I right? Come on.
Bobo, hey Bobo.
Hey, Bobo. I say we start calling him Bobo.
Lives or dies?
She lives. I don't know. I don't know the difference between the dragons. I'm not
Oh my
that
gosh,
deep
you-
in this.
How?
Like,
Such a
Wow.
big fanboy.
Fucking
There's
nerds.
one.
I'm gonna say he dies.
There's
I think
one that's.
I think Drogon lives. Lives or dies?
I think he lives.
Okay,
Which
Tim.
one's the ice dragon?
Viserion.
I'm going to say they both live.
We said that like 2 minutes ago, Nick. How are you missing these?
These aren't normal names, Kevin. It's not like you're like, what about Kevin? What about Dan? Viserion, Rhaegal, Ryger, Rhydon, blah.
Whatever.
You just have to listen,
said
though.
that about Bronn
There's
and
50
Bran.
fucking names on this list, dude. And by the way, haven't seen these dragons all episode. We see them once every like 3 episodes. I don't fucking know
Oh
the
my
names
gosh,
of
you're the
dragons.
worst.
Who cares?
Are there any other major characters?
There's
that
no
I'm
characters I
forgetting?
care about. Thor, Captain America, Hulk. Easy to say names that I grew up with.
Comments are going to love you.
Are there any other major
Fuck you,
characters
comments.
that I'm
Come at me.
forgetting?
No, I think that's it. Right? Like that's the cast that we're left with now
I mean, these are people who we know are going to be in the
in the
battle,
battle,
of
or at least
Winterfell,
related
right?
to the battle a bit.
So like we've left out people who are in King's Landing, like the Mountain,
Right.
like-
Mountain, Qyburn,
right.
and that's it.
Right,
right?
Cersei, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and then Euron. Euron?
You're right,
Yeah,
Euron.
You're on, right? And the
God, I don't want any more of that
Yara,
story.
who's on the
Tommen's
Iron
dead body who's going to get
Islands, right?
reanimated into a zombie.
So,
Sir Pounce, dude, coming back.
okay, well, we have a good list here.
Love it.
This is going to be very exciting, and I, for one, can't wait until next Sunday night.
Sunday night, man. This is about to be a week for us.
I know,
Endgame
I
and then
know.
the Battle of Winterfell.
The good thing is, in like a day and a half, we're gonna forget all about Game of Thrones, and we're gonna be like, "Man, Avengers right around the corner! Can't wait!"
And then after that, it's time for Game of Thrones.
Oh, I guess the one thing I didn't mention, sorry to cut you off, was like, do we want to speculate on if the Night King will die in this episode or not?
Oh, that's a great one. I think you should add that in the Night King. I think the Night King dies.
Me
I'm
too.
Yellow.
Nick?
I don't think he dies in this one.
Yeah, I think he lives.
I think
he
he's got
lives.
more to do because I think he's going to march on King's Landing at some point.
Do you think he's going to die?
I
or
think he
live?
lives.
I think he does.
If he lives, he has to win the battle for Winterfell, because he can just keep reanimating corpses.
Well, I
so-
think that's what it means. So if he wins, that means he wins. If he lives, that means he wins.
But
Actually, I'm going to go dies. I really want him to die.
yeah, because
I have to
again,
believe.
Game of
You gotta
Thrones has
believe,
not,
baby.
Believe!
Game of Thrones has not been like about this. This has just been a story that's connecting everything together, and
I think
I'm
we'll get
ready to go back
a
to the
much more
politics.
interesting end of the season if he dies and the fight's over. Then it's about the last group of people we have left.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kind of Funny's Game of Thrones in review for episode 2. Enjoy your week. Have a good time. You know, say you love your loved ones because
and
you don't know
subscribe.
how long we have left. And subscribe.
But more importantly, subscribe.
And ring the bell.
Oh yeah, it's more
Yeah,
important.
push the
Absolutely.
bell.
Hit that little bell.
Until next time.
I don't know, man. We'll see.
Yeah.